Is this the official one? Did we decide?
I think so. I don't know. You tell us, because we're live, so if you like that song, that can be our official song. I don't know. Matt switched back to that one, so maybe that's the official one now?
I like it.
I don't know. But we are back. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are here at Bat City Comic Professionals to help you wind down your weekend. As usual, I am Shannon, aka SmallPressShann, here to tell you about all of the amazing comics that came out this week and last week, because we weren't here for Halloween. And we're going to talk about some of our favorites. We're going to talk about just a whole bunch of incredible comics that came out and a bunch of stuff going on. As always, I've got my wonderful co-host, Phil, aka Wednesday Phil. How's it going, Phil?
Hello. I'm doing well. This was a pretty exciting week for comics.
Yes, it was. And
kind of very fitting with your name. There was a lot of small press titles this week.
There was a lot of small press titles this week. I'm very excited about that. There has been, of course, we talk about this every week, there's been that paper shortage going on, and it just kind of got to Marvel, essentially.
Yes.
And so this week, Marvel actually only had about 4 or 5 titles, and a lot of the other ones got pushed back because they want to make sure that they get those bigger ones have their, they can print them all for everybody, and it's not something that gets delayed halfway or things like that. So there wasn't a lot of Marvel. There wasn't really that much out from DC. A little bit more so than Marvel, but not too much. And lots of indie titles.
Yes.
So I'm really excited. And since it is 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks have both had that same issue, we have so many indie titles to talk about this week. And we're not going to lie to you like last time and be like, this isn't going to take that long. We're just going to be honest and tell you that we have all of the books in the world. And we have wine. What do we got?
This week we have Wedding Oak. It is 2019, some Hill Country wine. It is local. Yes, and it was actually brought to us by our subscriber, Stevie Jacobs. He's been telling us about this wine and how much he wanted us to try it for a while, so I'm very excited to get to jump into this. And speaking of weddings and subscribers, a huge shout out to somebody who's probably not going to be watching this week, who usually does, our subscriber David Acevedo and his wife Alicia, who got married last night. So congratulations to the newly wedded Acevedo family. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, those jackets were super cute that they got.
Yes,
they got Mr. and Mrs. Acevedo jackets.
Cool.
Those were great.
Yeah. Yes, congratulations.
Yes, so cheers to y'all on this glass of wine.
Yes, and how fitting Wedding Oak. Perfect.
Perfect.
I like this. It's bitter, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a good. I like it a lot. Yeah, he had asked us. He was
intense though.
He was like, y'all like those dry bitter ones, and we were like, yeah.
Not cheap wine.
No, yeah, this is a real wine. This isn't like our wines that we normally buy.
They have the very textured label.
Yeah.
Which is a sign of high quality.
High quality.
Yes. Must have the textured labels.
Yes. Hey, Gomez says, hi, Bat City family, miss y'all, and that he was there last night for David, and he's so happy for them as well.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, I'm sad that we weren't able to make it out there for that, but drinking this wine in their honor. So
yes, this is for you, David. Tonight is all about you.
Awesome. So let's kick it off with a giveaway before we jump into the comics that came out. Prize. Thanks for that. And I'm gonna toss this beautiful cover to you. This one's hard for Phil to give away.
I think I have multiple copies of this cover as well.
You do. Yeah. You specifically ordered like 2 or 3, but we are giving away a copy of Catwoman number 32, Jenny Frison. This is actually one of my favorite Jenny Frison covers that she's done so far for Catwoman.
It's the colors.
It's the colors. They're so gorgeous, and Catwoman just looks phenomenal in it. And to win this Catwoman cover, I don't even know where I want to start. Not a single one of these is an easy question. I messed up for sure this time, but we're let's do this. Chip Zdarsky, who we all know and love, has a book or two out this week. He actually... I like that we're laughing about that. He actually has another pseudonym. What is Chip Zdarsky's other pseudonym? And you can Google this. If you can tell me what Chip Zdarsky's other pseudonym is, you win this Catwoman Jenny Frison cover.
What has he put out? I mean, obviously you can't say because it'd be
I honestly could not... it wasn't a comic necessarily that he put this other stuff out under. But he does have another... And you can... I did not know this, and it's really... If you just Google Chip Zdarsky, it actually gives you... multiple names that he goes by. One being Chip Zdarsky, the other being his actual name, and the other being the pseudonym. So I'm not going to tell you which one's which, because if you're Googling it and you don't know Chip Zdarsky's real name, you might come up with the wrong answer to this question.
Yes.
But it is not Chip Zdarsky, I will tell you that. So
the interesting thing is I feel like with, obviously having the internet right here, I could go Google that, but I don't think I ever want to know Chip Zdarsky's real name.
Did you read Crossover issue 7?
No.
Okay, well, if you ever do, then it will spoil that for you.
No.
Because Chip Zdarsky wrote in his real name into Crossover issue 7. So.
All right, I need to tweet at Donnie and ask him if I can skip 7.
You can.
Okay.
I'm going to say that right now. You could technically skip 7. It'll probably come back around and be relevant, but right now, if you skipped issue 7, you wouldn't be lost in the story, because it's kind of like a one shot done by Chip. That's like Chip's side story within the the verse of crossovers. So it's not like it doesn't directly connect. Like they even had to do a previously on crossover when they came back because of the fact that they had taken some time.
That's awesome.
So once again, if you want to win this amazing Jenny Frison Catwoman cover, you can win that by telling me what is Chip Zdarsky's other pseudonym. Chip Zdarsky being one of them. What is the other one that he uses? If you can tell me that, you get this Catwoman cover by Jenny Frison for free.
Which I don't think I've ever seen this name come across anything.
Yes, Brett, you are the winner. I'm going to give it to you because you actually gave me both of his names, but it is the other... I'm going to actually ruin your life right now, because you look at the comments, so don't look at the comments. The answer is Todd Diamante is Chip Zdarsky's other pseudonym. We're not going to say his actual real name out loud because Phil doesn't want to know.
Yes, it's one of the few comic mysteries I want to keep a mystery.
But congratulations, Brett. You are getting that beautiful Jenny Frison cover, and you should buy a comic book showcase frame to put it in and display it on your wall because it is beautiful.
I would agree.
Alright, so we've got some hot new titles. I'm going to save this for last because my next trivia question has to deal with it. We've got some hot new titles, and I'm not going to lie to you and tell you we're going to go through them quickly, but we're going to try to go through them at a normal human rate and not at a Shannon and Phil rate.
Oh, we're starting with this.
We're going to start with this one. This is the newest Cullen Bunn book for your collection. This is from Aftershock, which I am wearing my awesome new Aftershock shirt for the occasion. I love it. It's got the Aftershock slogan, read dangerously on it, and then on the back it talks about Aftershock. Super cool. This is one of the softest comic shirts that I think I have. So
it's high quality.
It's high quality.
Ooh.
If you don't have an Aftershock shirt, head over to their website and get some merch during their happy hours, because that's not this one. I'm just saying in general to get some of their merch. But the Heathens.
Yes.
This is the newest Cullen Bunn book on the market, so we're up to about as many as we are Batman titles.
It's close. It is very close.
And this one, I like that the title is called The Right Assholes for the Job.
Yes.
That's a great first issue title. But this is the story basically of evil people, or evil spirits, whatever you want to call them, evil people who have died come back and are breaking through the gates of hell essentially to come back to Earth and kill more people. And the Hell has decided that they need to build their own team of people, kind of like a BRPD kind of thing, of their own team to come in and battle these people and bring them back. And if they, and kind of like in, you know, your favorite book, The Heavy, if they fulfill a certain amount of soul collecting and stopping of these bad people, they could potentially earn their freedom from, I guess, hell. I feel like they're in hell. It doesn't seem like all of these people should be in hell, but they are. And much like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, we've got a team of people like you've probably heard of. You know, like you've got Billy the Kid on the team.
Madam She.
Yeah.
There's a couple of gangsters, mobsters that I wasn't familiar with. But yeah, it's like a bunch of, and Stalin.
Yeah, is their leader?
Yeah, like he is somewhat there.
He's like the pencil pusher of hell.
Yes,
who like organizes the team, and he's like, oh, you guys, like he's like their Amanda Waller essentially. Like, oh, I'll kill you if you don't get this right, and it's like, well, of course you will. You're Stalin.
Right. Like, and you know what? You just nailed it. This is an indie version of Suicide Squad.
It's an indie version of Suicide Squad, absolutely.
Yes. This is Cullen Bunn saying, DC won't let me write Suicide Squad.
So I'm going to make up my own.
It's called Heathens.
And it's going to go to Aftershock. So, as with most Aftershock titles, this is probably going to be 5 issues. And the first one does a lot of work to set it up. I do like that Madam She is the kind of the main character, and that we're going to get to see her. She is an Asian pirate queen, if you don't know her from history or legends. And I like that we're getting to see her. I like that we're also just getting to see a lot of badass pirate women in comic books right now.
Yes, there's a few out right now.
And it's great to see them just living it up in their pirate life. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I want to see more. I like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen enough that I'm always down to read more of like these books when they come out.
Yes, and I have that same feeling every time I see Cullen Bunn's name, where I'm like, here we go. This is a really great story. You're picking at all the like fantasy type things that I enjoy. They're chasing Jack the Ripper.
I know.
Like, it's everything that appeals to me, that tells me, yes, I want to read this book. And then I close it, and I'm like, oh, there's his name again. I don't know.
I don't know if I trust it, but
how disappointed am I going to be?
Yeah, we'll see.
I will say I like the art in this book. I think it's Sami Cavella who does the art. I do really like the art. Like the Madam She stuff in those first few pages I showed looks great.
Yeah, I was here for just a Madam She book after reading that. So,
which, hey, maybe that's Cullen Bunn's next one of 50 projects he's got coming down the pipeline.
We'll see, but definitely worth it if you didn't pick it up. That's a new title from Aftershock. It is on our Aftershock display. I don't know what to call it. It's got 6 or 7 different Aftershock titles. I say 6 or 7 because we usually stack one in front of the other, so a couple of them will be doubled up. But The Heathens is Aftershock's new title this week that I think a lot of people were coming and asking for it, and I think you definitely should pick it up and check it out. Speaking of Aftershock new number 1s, last week they had Cross to Bear out, which is also about Jack the Ripper.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Jack the Ripper is making a comeback. This is number one. Yes. And this is the Knights Templar in the Old West chasing down Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. That is exactly what you were reading in these pages. Yeah, I was uncertain about this one. But again, it's just kind of like that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen style of like, let's insert like versions of somewhat popular characters in history. Obviously the last book was full on, these characters, but yeah, I just kind of get that, Knights of Templar type. There's a lot of words in this book though.
And then I feel like that's to give you the Knights Templar kind of side of it. I actually somebody asked me what I thought of this book and what my review was. And I said, this is your standard Western of, hey, like, I'm the young hotshot who messed everything up. So I got to go out and find the old, like, pro who's retired and doesn't want anything to do with the organization anymore, and now that I found him, like, I have to drag him back in, but with Knights Templar and essentially a Jack the Ripper style murder. It may or may not be actually Jack the Ripper, but it's crazy that, like, Aftershock back-to-back weeks had books that were essentially about people trying to hunt down Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
But this one's definitely, when you read it, this is the standard Aftershock, where they come in on issue 1 and they're like, we have to give you everything about this world because we only have 5 issues, so we're going to give you all the details right now, and then we can let the story breathe from here on out. And so issue 1 was, like you said, it's a lot of words. Issue 1 was like, here is this character. Here's everything you need to know about this character. Here is the other character and everything you need to know about them. Also, like, here is the Knights Templar. This is everything you need to know if you didn't know, like, that about the Knights Templar. And it kind of gives you a lot of information. But I think that's because they want to be able to just go on the adventure and tell you the story from here on out. So they want to get it all out of the way because we probably only have 5 issues to tell the whole story.
Yes, I would agree. But at the same time, with this and Heathens, now that we're talking them back to back, I think this is the story I'm more intrigued by. Where the Heathens is a little bit more, like, fun. I don't necessarily think that's the word I'm looking for, but it's like a very Bill and Ted, let's put all these characters together and go on an adventure kind of thing. Whereas this is more, it feels more like something I would read in a novel. I'm
more here for the Bill and Ted this time.
Okay, so we've kind of switched a little bit here. Because I'm more so into this. I like the whole Knights Templar tie. Like, that's appealing to me. So between the 2 books, I'm more likely to see this one to issue 5. Whereas Cullen Bunn, I'll probably stop at 4 because I realize 5 is just going to be disappointing. So this one I'm a little bit more into, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to keep going with both and see how they play out, but I am definitely enjoying the fun of the Heathens a little bit more than this, than Cross to Bear. But I think with Cross to Bear right now, we've just seen so many Western books coming out recently, and I've loved the way they've done it on so many of those. So I feel like Cross to Bear is going to have to give me a lot of what those other books gave me to keep me as invested. And we still have more Western books to talk about today alone. So we'll keep going. Last week, Human Remains came out from Vault. I'm going to do this super quickly since it is a last week book, but this is Peter Milligan writing a story about what if you could never experience your emotions because giant alien monsters would kill you.
And this is issue number 2.
This is issue 2, and the art is crazy.
Yeah, I was flipping through this a second ago.
Yeah, it's such a crazy book, and we are following essentially a couple that got married on the day that the invasion started. And so, of course, you just got married, you have a lot of emotions. They were literally at their wedding when this all took place. And so now it's like we see a little bit of the wedding and then we see the fallout of it and how these people are going to deal with it. And it's crazy because you don't realize how many things trigger an emotional reaction in you. Like, you know, how many times we all say, like, oh, I'm fine, I'm calm, or whatever. And this book shows you just how much, like, when you think you're calm, you're really not, and how much we actually do need emotions to communicate, because they're trying to have these conversations with people in the book, and they're getting, like, the kid just wants to go out and play, and they're like, you can't go play because then you're having fun, and fun is an emotion, a whole experience. And it's like this small child can't even go outside and play because the creatures might get him. And so it's just an interesting thing to see this looming fear of having an emotional reaction and what it does to people.
I'm definitely intrigued by the concept, and now that I'm seeing this art, I'm really into it. I mean, Peter Milligan's another one of those writers that I just feel like constantly I'm always to some degree interested in whatever he's putting out. So I definitely want to check this one out at some point. Also, it's Vault.
Yeah, so you know it's good. Yeah. Black Caravan released Swamp Dogs, House of Crows last week. This is like a 70s pulp blaxploitation kind of film.
Yes.
With some zombie type monsters.
Yes.
The art looks exactly like what we just described that as, and you just gotta dive into this one. Like, I can't really, there's not much more I can give you more, other than that's what it is.
Yeah, you're getting, a little bit of character setup here, and then you get that kind of horror movie moment where it's like, all right, here we go. This is the official kickoff, when the monster is revealed. But especially this title page, like, the crazy thing about this book, one, I do really enjoy the art. And that's something that Black Caravan does a really great job of, mostly because Joseph Smock does a majority of the Black Caravan books, and his art is just fantastic. But this art I really like, and the crazy thing about this one, and I'll switch it over, is you go from, like, these red and oranges, like, full-on pages of it, and then you're immediately thrust into, like, purples and blues, and it's really great.
It's really it's dynamically pretty. Like,
yes, and that is what this book does a great job of. I love the main. I don't know which one you would consider the main character, but the girl in purple.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yes, she.
I don't know if you can show that one.
Let's get that one.
She's very confident in who she is, and I love that.
Yes, Ayana. Yes, I'm going to have to skip most of this. This is, a very mature book. It is Black Caravan, so I can't really get too crazy with it. But I enjoyed this one.
Me too.
Again, Black Caravan, I'm definitely going to keep reading it. Because,
And go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, because it is Black Caravan, just know that you have another month and a half before you're going to get issue 2.
Oh, really?
Because that is a Scout imprint, so it is going to be, it is going to take, they do the 2-month wait at Scout, so you will probably have about a month or so before, month and a half before issue 2 does come out. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got some time to come in and jump in on number 1. If you were like, I had a lot of books the last couple weeks, I didn't get to pick up anything new, that's the whole reason Scout does that wait point. So, like, when you have a low week, you can grab that number 1 and get in on it before it's too late to get a copy of number 2 ordered for you. So, Swamp Dogs, Black Caravan, like, now's a good time to grab a copy and figure out if it's for you. Speaking of Westerns, The Rush, which I have to grab, like, the cover B, because it tells you what the Rush stands for, because obviously it's based on, it's a new Nightfall book, so it's from Vault, it's on their horror imprint, and it's all, obviously it's old Western about the gold rush, but I like that they say on the cover of the cover B, it says the Rush stands for "This hungry earth reddens under snow-clad hills," which is a great way to describe what happens in this book, because this is this is like your old Western version of 30 Days of Night.
Yes. Well, but instead of it being, I guess. Because at first I was like, I don't know, because they don't really say what he is.
They don't really say.
They just refer to him as the Pale One.
Yeah.
Which is immediately intriguing to me. The opening scene of this book immediately sold me. Like, it did not take long for me to be like, yes, this gives me all the Western stuff that I want. I've always been intrigued by the Gold Rush era of American history. So, and Cy Spurrier is one of those writers that he's never, to me, I don't think he's ever done anything that's like groundbreaking in comics, but I've always felt like he's been a solid writer. Yeah,
he falls in that Charles Soule category where it's like everything is good. I can't remember my all-time like standout moment with it, but everything is good. And this, I like that they chose to have it be the story of a mother on the hunt for her son in this issue too. Like, we've got that opening introduction, like you said, that lays the groundwork of all this crazy stuff, and then we roll into this mom who's just trying to find her lost 16-year-old son, and she's doing it on her own. And I think, like you said, you know, the gold rush time period of American history is crazy because these people just went out to unsettled area just on their own, and then we're like, wow, so many people came here, let's build transportation out of here. And it was kind of like to bring people back that were dying and that weren't finding anything. And she talks about specifically like going the other direction when everybody else is coming home because it's too dangerous to be out there. She's going into it, and she's so determined. And so we've got this mom character who's just so strong-willed, and yet it's like that's not necessarily going to be enough to save you from the earth and the people. Like, everybody is terrible out there, and so there's nothing really, like, nobody really she can count on to. But she's kind of a badass and doesn't really need to count on anybody.
She is a total badass, you know, because this is very much the hero's journey. And she is a solid main character. Like, she is the hero that I'm into, because there's also a scene where she's sitting around the campfire where when she hired a guy to basically be her protector, to watch over her as they travel, and he starts to want to like tell his feelings, and she's like, I don't know if I was clear before or if I've given you any indication, but I have absolutely zero interest in anything that you have to say as a person. Like, my kid is my only focus. That's all I care about. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I love it. And then she just, like, gets up, too. She's like, so, we're just here for business. And, like, gets up. And I'm like, oh, she's serious. I like it. She's like, I don't have time to waste on other people's emotions because there's too much going on in my own life. And I respected her approach to that. It's nice.
Yeah. This is a book I'm 100% sold on. Not only because I love the main character, but I cannot wait to like, the pale one.
I know.
All that mystery I need to know.
And it's a Nightfall title, so it's gonna be amazing. It's just gonna take you on this journey. They have not like done wrong on this imprint yet, so pick it up. It's the rush. It's issue 1. It's gonna be one that you're gonna want to stick with, and it's definitely amazing already.
Yes. I'm fully on board.
Yes. Merlin and Hector, which is from Stonebot Comics, which is which is I believe an imprint of Red 5.
I think that's the case, yeah.
Yeah. And so Red 5 we've talked about a couple of times, but Merlin and Hector, oh, I don't know what that sound effect was, but okay. Merlin and Hector, this one I was like, Phil, you need to read it for the art.
Yes, I'm just now seeing this art is not indicative of what's in the story. It's just the opening page.
The opening page, but yeah, Merlin and Hector. I believe the magician Merlin, from Arthurian legend, because he does seem to have some kind of magical powers. But we're just getting to know him, and this is the story of a boy named Hector is trying to steal a pig, and Merlin tries to stop him. He saves Merlin. And then, a turn of events, Merlin has to come to his rescue later on. And it's kind of the setup for wherever their journey is going to lead. But, again, this art is so detailed. And I felt like it almost has, like, the Mike Mignola, like, kind of...
Yes.
Like, shape to it. Like, the way the trees move and the way that the landscape looks and the creature, like, even the, like, hog looks. Like, everything kind of just looks like they definitely took some inspiration from that.
Well, you even look at this cover that looks like a Dark Horse cover. Mm-hmm. Like, that very much looks like something you would see on the shelves under Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I kind of like. I really dig this art. It's definitely up my alley. I'm getting those Mignola vibes. A little bit of Paul Pope, too. Especially in the way the face is drawn in this page somewhere down in here. But yeah, I'm 100% sold on this. I think I've always been a big fan of Merlin. Mm-hmm. Any story involving Merlin is great.
Especially the ones that cast Katie McGrath on their shows.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this. How much are these?
They're $3.95. Yeah.
Oh, $3.95.
$3.95. You save 4 cents if you pick this book.
Stonebot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, again, like I said, I think it's an imprint of Red 5 because it does have the Red 5 publishing tag on the bottom. But this is going to be... I'm excited to see where this goes. This is good character development for both of the... I guess all 3 of the main characters that we're going to see in this story, in this issue. And so, I felt like it was a bigger issue. It's not. It's the same size, but there was so much that happened that I was like, wow, this could have just been a graphic novel. And then it leads you into the next book and at the end. So I was like, oh... Okay, good. It does have more to go, but I was like, oh, we're going to solve all of the problems in this first issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's got, like I said, that Dark Horse look that is really appealing to me.
Yeah. Speaking of Black Caravan, this is the Epic Taverns Tales from the Fantastical Crime Unit. It is a long mess of a title. But essentially it is, it's really a detective, has that same, crime noir, over narration, but all in, like it says, a fantastical crime unit. So it's got to do with fairies and vampires and monstrous creatures, and, the whole thing is they have to save they have to find the daughter of the Centaur Queen. And, she's sold, she's at the magical menagerie, which the market that closes. If you've read Neil Gaiman's Stardust, you would probably have an idea of this fairy market that opens up during the moonlight and closes at sunrise, and if you're still there, you get stuck there forever. So they have to go and save this centaur princess from there, essentially. And it's not really a princess, but the leader to stop a war. And so you get all of these cool little characters that all have different fantastical backgrounds. And your main character does, you have the black bubble narration. So it's supposed to feel like a crime noir, but it's a fantasy world. So it's kind of funny. It almost feels like the way Roger Rabbit, you have the detective in the Roger Rabbit world who's just going around doing his actual detective-y sounding talk in his detective style work, but he's working with all the tunes. This kind of feels like the same thing.
So maybe also a more fantastical Fables.
Yeah. With kind of in that same, I guess I could say yes, in that same vein, more you said. Yeah,
a different group of fictional characters.
Yeah, and they're not named. With Fables, how it's actually oh, this is, Snow White, and this is this character. This is kind of just oh, the fairies are gonna fight the centaurs if you don't get the centaur princess back to the,
A slightly more generic version.
A very much more generic version than Fables. But yeah, you can kind of see that. And I don't know if this is gonna be an ongoing, because it does leave you with an ongoing feel, but it is called Tales from the Fantastical Crime Unit, and so I was that could just be that they're going to do an anthology or a one-off, but it does feel at the end like we're set up a new team of people. So apparently teams of detectives taking on fantastical issues is going to be the hot new thing.
I like it. It's the cover and the font and everything is giving me maybe Nickelodeon vibes a little bit. This could be a fun animated series you would see around the same time as when Gravity Falls would come on.
Yeah, I could see that.
Something along those lines. But I do like this, and I like the very Dick Tracy-esque detective looking character.
And I like that his partner, she is she's just a person that he's always had to he's rounded up a bunch of times, but now they're hurting for people in the department. So she is his new partner, and she talks one of those nonstop talkers. And I love the way that they stacked her speech bubbles to show that she just was not going to stop talking. And he keeps trying to interject in this one scene, and her speech bubbles kind of push his out almost, and it's great. Cool. It's a great way to show that this girl does not shut up and that he is annoyed by it. So love that. A quick jump to the big two, sort of, because it's Tynion, so it never feels like that. But DC versus Vampires. This is exactly what I just said. It's DC versus Vampires. That's what it is. There's a vampire story with all the DC characters. It actually starts with iVampire, who I totally forgot was a DC character until he came in.
So, I am a big fan of iVampire because of the New 52. Like, my favorite thing in the New 52 was the smaller titles. Mm-hmm. Like, I loved their Dial H series.
Yes, that was good.
But the Frankenstein book, and then iVampire were the 3 books that I really enjoyed. So I was excited to see iVampire come back. I was like, okay, and we have the Wonder Twins.
Right, and the Wonder Twins are also... Well, Wonder Twin, only one of them was there.
Yeah, that's right.
But, yeah, this is... it was absolutely great to actually have that. I didn't expect that. I don't know why a book called DC vs. Vampires, I did not assume that iVampire would be a part of it immediately, but... and we do have, this is the vampires are coming after all of the Justice League and trying to take over the world. And of course, the easiest way to take over the world is to take out the Justice League or put them on your side. And it's Tynion, so it's a great story. It's Tynion and Rosenberg.
Yes. And I have, there was another podcast that I was listening to, and they said this is DC's next Deceased.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you think that it's just going to be DC versus vampires, but there's going to be more to it. The story's going to be really great. I mean, like you said, it's Tynion, it's Rosenberg. Like, these are 2 creators who know how to write a story. Mm-hmm. I'm really on board. There is actually some really crazy shit that happens in this first issue that...
I'm not going to lie, the watery part was hilarious.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah.
I highly recommend this one. I think this is one of those that's going to be fun, and if you're not, like, a huge DC reader, these are characters you're familiar with, and it's not connected to anything going on in the universe, so just check it out. I think it's going to be fun, and I think that third act especially is going to be where it's worth it.
Absolutely.
I do get Deceased vibes, 100%.
100% felt like I was just reading another volume of Deceased, and Deceased is really good at being the same, like, the generic, it's a zombie tale, but then also taking it multiple layers in and then giving you emotional, like, storytelling to it. So I'm here to see where this goes. And speaking of DC making weird Elseworlds titles that you don't think are going to be good and then are, Dark Knight of Steel. This is Tom Taylor writing Game of Thrones in the DC universe. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, it was like a Dead Box moment all over again. I was like, this is going to be ridiculous. And about a month ago, they gave us the sample to read, and I was like, it's going to be so ridiculous. And then I read it, and I was like, damn it, it's not ridiculous. It's actually, it's actually just Tom Taylor doing what Tom Taylor does. And so, basically, we go back to the moment where... Jor-El and Lara are trying to decide if they should send their son down to Earth because Krypton's going to be destroyed, and they decide they're all going to go. Instead of the story where it's just they only have room for the baby, the 3 of them all go, and they land on Earth in the Middle Ages. And then from there on, you literally just get Game of Thrones with every DC character. And I love the way they work them all in. It's super cool to see how they do bring all of the characters into the Middle Ages and make their powers and their theme work to the Middle Ages. And Tom Taylor is going to do this ridiculously, like, great story under a concept that should not be as good as it is. But, it's probably going to end better than Game of Thrones, too.
More than likely, especially knowing that it is Tom Taylor. This is one of those books that I read the solicit, and I can honestly say that in all the history of DC Comics, Elseworld books are my favorite. Like, those are the books that I seek out the most because there's been some really wonderful stories that, you just kind of want to see something different than, the normal... constant, this is Superman and Metropolis, having a relationship with Lois and fighting Lex Luthor. It's a lot more than that. And this is also one of those books where the last page, I was just like, yes.
I have to keep going
this is why I am buying this book each time it comes out. I am overly excited for this. I like Harley Quinn.
I love Harley Quinn in that,
I think this is going to be fun. It's going to be a great use of a lot of different characters because they've introduced a good amount
of the
DC main
universe,
DC characters that you would expect to see in like a Justice League book are in this. But yes, yes, Tom Taylor DC. Whatever you want to do,
we're here for it.
Yes.
And Ram, I got you down for a copy of Dark Knights of Steel. And speaking of knights, can I have the bottle of wine?
Oh, sure.
Before I hand you this book. AWA Upshot has a new title out. It's called Knighted. And honestly, this takes place in that Resistance universe. If you don't know about the Resistance universe, Resistance being the first big book from AWA, it was actually like the third or fourth title that they had. But it launched a world where after a virus had swept across the world, a bunch of people 5% of the people who got the virus didn't die. They got superpowers. They survived the virus and they got superpowers. And we've been building this. J. Michael Straczynski has been building this universe out since then. And we've had a couple books within that weren't by Straczynski. One being Erratic, which focused on a young teenage boy who got superpowers from it and had to learn how to deal with them. And his powers only lasted for 10 minutes at a time before he would lose them. And this book, Knighted, is actually all about a guy who he kind of isn't. He is not one of the super powered people. He didn't really get anything. Like, even his girlfriend's like, I hate you. Like, I want to be with you and I love you, but like, you really need to do something with your life. Like, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. And she's like, he's like, oh, he's like gonna propose, and she's like, I don't want your ring. I want you to be a better person, like to be a better person to be with, because you're not really providing anything to me or the rest of the world. And he keeps trying to find his way to be a part of that, and in that he gets sucked up into the world of the Knight, who is that city's superhero, and he is very much Batman, has a Lucius Fox and everything. And our main character of this story gets sucked up into the Knight's world, and it's cool how he gets there and what happens. And that's a spoiler, so I wouldn't show that on the screen from then on. It's just
okay. Yeah. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, but check it out. You don't have to have read the different the different Resistance universe books. You don't have to have read them to read the ones like this. It doesn't necessarily. They kind of do in a Marvel movie where it's 5 years ago everybody disappeared. They'll kind of be everybody, when the virus happened and everybody either got superpowers or died, or if they got sick. They kind of do that one line of dialogue that throws that out there, and so you don't have to read the other ones to know it doesn't directly connect. You're really into this Crimson Cage.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was staring at this ad of this book called Crimson Cage, which looks like a gory wrestling.
It is. It's coming.
Yes. So I was just going to, while we're here looking at it, I was just going to say, if you haven't ordered this,
please let us know, because we do have some coming in. I didn't get to read this, but I think you did.
Yeah, I read this kind of quickly right before we went on. This is Tangled River #1 by Michael Cohen. You were the one that said this?
I think it started on the Tapas Media.
Okay, so originally it's a webcomic. Mm-hmm. And that's actually something that's really appealing to me. I want a lot of webcomics to transition. There was one, Kill 6 Billion Demons. Mm-hmm. That was a webcomic that came out. Because I want the two to mesh more.
Yeah.
I want people to download apps like Webtoons and Tapas as well, where you can read these new stories. They're fun, interesting ones. I have to admit, this book was very confusing at first, because I was I don't know what time period we're in, because it's set in the future, but technology's not a thing anymore, because they're now on a new planet. There's a bunch of words that are it's in a different language. It's in an alien language, and there's not a guide. You're kind of trying to figure out what some of it is. It's very interesting. There's a lot going on in this book. It's centered around this girl, Now I'm forgetting her name. I know her friend's name is Licorice.
Nice. I'm here for that.
Which I thought was great. Her name is Tanya, if I remember correctly. But she is creative and very curious, and she sees something in the sky. She doesn't know what it is, but then she has to report it to like the High Council. And this is one of those books where there's I think a whole world being built here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of slowly unveiling that world. There's some adorable creatures. There's bartering. Like I said, it's in the future. It's on a different planet. There's different caste systems involving aliens and Earthlings. So it is a lot. There is a lot of words in this book. It is a larger size book. It's $5.99. It feels more like maybe 48 pages.
It felt big.
The art is pretty solid. I'm not the world's biggest fan, but I'm definitely interested to see where this goes. A lot of confusion. I'll have to read it maybe one or two more times.
Yeah.
and take notes. There's no Jonathan Hickman
graphics to help you out.
And info dump pages. But I'm definitely curious to see where this goes. And, of course, I do want to support those who are transitioning from, webtoons and webcomics to print media. So
yeah.
Maybe not the best time with the paper shortage.
Right. But, they didn't know that when they printed it.
No.
When they solicited it.
And I'm here for it because I do think that people who create webcomics are hoping to make that move into print media at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
Yeah. This next one is A Thing Called Truth, and it is by Yolanda... let me see. I have to read her last. Yolanda Zanfardino and Elisa Ramboli, who were the people who did. They're the team that did Alice in Leatherland, and this is an Image comic. And this is issue 1, and I know you were like, yeah, it was a book basically, and I'm always super intrigued. I will always and forever be super intrigued by what this team does because I loved Alice in Leatherland and it came out of nowhere and surprised me. Even when I read issue 1 of Alice in Leatherland, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then by the end, I was like, that was one of the best journeys. And I love that book so much. And it was like my favorite rom-com of like the year. And so I'm hoping we kind of get the same thing with this book, because we see a doctor who's invested all of her time into trying to come up with this technology that will save the world. Mm-hmm. And she finally finishes, like gets to the point where like all she has to do is file her patent paperwork because it is ready to go, and is like, well, I guess I can finally take my day to my nights to myself and I can go home. And we see that her life has just completely fallen apart outside of that. Like her bills are piled up, her ex wants a divorce, like all this stuff, because he's already moved on and has like a new wife and like wants to get married.
Who's pregnant.
Because this new person is pregnant. And she's just like, okay, well, I'm saving the world tomorrow, so I don't care. And then she wakes up and they've completely taken everything from her, mm-hmm. and overnight. And her whole life gets turned upside down. And what I like that Yolanda does is really actually realistic reactions to
mm-hmm.
what happens in this situation. Like the panic and those moments of like, oh my god, no, this can't be happening, are so realistic to what a normal person would do in these kinds of situations. Like we see the initial panic and the initial yelling and screaming to the like going out and getting drunk and being like, I don't care, who cares, like whatever, like fuck it, like life's over anyway, it doesn't matter, like drinks on me because everything's a waste. Like you get these realistic reactions through the storytelling that they do, and then that's not even where the adventure starts.
No.
And so there's so much more to this book, and so I can't wait to see what it is, because I have no idea what the actual adventure of this story is going to be.
Yeah, and that was the one thing, because I think what kind of turned me off in the beginning is that I had way too many questions. You know, where I was like, wait, hold on. Okay, this, I know it just got screwed over by big pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And now we're just kind of out there. Yeah, because big pharmaceuticals don't want to cut the cost of medicine so everyone can have it. And that was kind of their whole thing, where it's like at 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah,
like how dare she?
How dare she save the world? We can't have that.
But yeah, I like that very much. Like the main character at the end of the book, she's like, "Wait, what's going on?" And as a reader, you're like, "Wait, what's going on?"
Right. They always nail that for you. You identify with their main characters very well in their storytelling, and I am 100% on board. I'm in the car, ready to go. I just don't know where the hell we're going.
Yes.
But I'm going. Speaking of people who always take me on adventures, I don't know where I'm going. Chip Zdarsky has a new book out called Newburn, and it is the artist Jacob Phillips from That Texas Blood. So this is a Powerhouse team.
Newburn #1.
Yes.
Image. Yes, it is an Image title.
Powerhouse team with Chip Zdarsky and Jacob Phillips working together. This is going to be so good, and it's kind of, you know, your classic crime detective story, except he's not necessarily he's not working as a cop. He is working as a private detective, but he's more of a private detective for the bad guys.
Yes.
Than the good guys. And so I love that. And one of our subscribers who read it on the first day was like, one of my favorite things about this book is the journal entries. Yeah. That you don't really know who that character is until towards the end of the middle, towards the end of the story, wherever you want to go with that. And they do kind of draw you almost more into the story than the actual story, because they are hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like honestly, and I probably, now that I'm remembering this was in here, I kind of wish we would have put this in
Picks of the Week.
Picks of the Week.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should have.
This was one of my favorite books. I love the old school hardened detective character who's always one step ahead of everybody else. And Newburn is that character.
100%.
He hits on all those tropes. He nails everything in the he plays that character perfectly in the first issue, and he's just kind of that stoic Clint Eastwood type. I truly love this book, and I know it's Chip Zdarsky. I know there's going to be a lot of great character development and writing in this book, and Jacob Phillips, based on That Texas Blood, this is the art. That's the art style you need. It's the perfect art for this book. This was my favorite Emily's journal entry, where it just says "fuck." Yeah. And you're just like, oh, now we know who she is.
Right, we get it. Yeah.
It's gonna be one of my favorite. Very, very much in the vein of Ed Brubaker.
Yes.
I think this is kind of cool that his son is playing in that. Not his son, but Sean Phillips' son. Jacob is playing in that medium, in that genre. So. This definitely should have been a pick of the week. I actually forgot that it was in this side of the pile too, so it's definitely 100% a pickup. If you didn't already, we have copies obviously still in stock, but you should definitely grab a copy of Newburn. If you are a fan of anything, if you are subscribed to anything Chip Zdarsky, I probably put it in your box if you're a subscriber with us, and if you're not, you should be, because Chip Zdarsky is great. The Blue Flame, this was, Vault pitched this as their answer to The Watchmen. And I was like, what does that mean? Especially when I first started it, because it was kind of I don't really get that. But it does kind of have that feel, because you do have a parallel story running where you have a team that is essentially like the Minutemen. You have this team that's, they don't really have a lot of superpowers necessarily, but they've been fighting crime, and they just kind of band together, and they've gotten back together. And in issue 1, they get back together, and there's an explosion, and all of them die except for one of them. And I have to tell you that because it's huge on where the story goes. And they
they bring this one guy, the one that survives. He's at the same time somehow, and we don't really know how these timelines intersect yet, but at the same time, essentially, like the double story that we're seeing is he is also working as the Blue Flame, which is a superhero. He has been taken to space to represent Earth because a council of aliens has decided that Earth, we're kind of terrible and we don't deserve to live anymore. And they're going to destroy all of the planet Earth unless he can advocate for why Earth should get to stay. And so he is doing that, but at the same time, like, on the planet Earth, he's the drunk. He, like, doesn't have, he lives with his sister. He needs to go to, keep trying to get him into group therapy because all of his friends and all these people died. And we're seeing both of these. We're seeing him have to represent humanity while humanity is treating him like he is the scum of humanity because he is an alcoholic who doesn't have a job or a home or anything like that. And so he's got that, like, the way veterans are often seen, like, and treated, right. But he's also still serving as, like, the person who is the only hope for all of humanity. And so it does kind of have a little bit of that, like, Watchmen, like, old team, new team, Dr. Manhattan in multiple places at one time, really thick with commentary and cerebral thought. And it's Christopher Cantwell.
That was the thing that I was just noticing is it's Cantwell. Mm-hmm. This will be a trade one for me because you just saying that it's Vault's Watchmen seems extremely appealing to me. Mm-hmm. Because I do like that. Obviously I love Watchmen, but I kind of like that concept of, heroes not viewed in the most positive light. Yeah. But also it's like, these are the people that we need to save humanity for us.
Yeah, and this particular issue, like, he's finally, like, going into, because this is issue 5, and it's been on a break for a very, very long time. So we've all been sitting here waiting because they kind of left us where, he was like, the next issue was going to be the one where he defended humanity, and then it just went on this, like, long break, and I was like, oh my god, like, are we going to survive? Like, are we ever going to find out if we get to live? And he just started his defense, and I love the way that the dual timelines work together in this issue. This is kind of the first one where you could really tell, like, a little bit of the symmetry of how it's working, and so that was really cool to see. But he goes to present his case, and he's talking about, like, from the beginning of time, like, just all the things that, like, the way humans have learned to use love, and they basically tell him, like, they basically turn around and use that as also the same reason that, like, we don't deserve to live, and how, like, humans, that same level of, like, love becomes obsession, and all of our wars and everything like that have come from, like, the same emotion that he's saying is why we help people. And so it's really, it is like Watchmen in that it just becomes this deep conversation. Like, is it on the level of Alan Moore's writing and the depth of Watchmen? Probably. We don't have all the art, you don't have the articles at the back, you don't get that supplemental material. It's not as deep as that, but it does give you that same, like, I want to sit down once it's done and read the whole thing and kind of evaluate this take on humanity, and also, like, figure out these timelines. Like, I can't wait for there to be a complete edition so that I can sit there and figure it all out, because it is a lot, and it is one of those where each time you finish an issue, you're like, I need to find somebody else who's reading this because I need to talk to them about what the hell just happened. And so it does have that kind of investment into it that you get from a book like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare Cantwell to Alan Moore, obviously, but I've heard great things about what Cantwell has been doing to this point. Mm-hmm. I've heard from multiple people to read his Iron Man run.
Yes, his Iron Man run.
And I find it somewhat intriguing that someone is doing well enough to make me actually maybe want to read an Iron Man comic.
I'm the same. That's how I feel every time somebody brings that up.
Yeah, but I hear it quite often, so.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky Devil, the other Cullen Bunn book of the week.
Yes, number 4, which I thought was of 5.
It's not.
I do not believe it is, because I'm even just checked Dark Horse, and there was no of 5. And I really hope that's the case.
It needs more than one more issue to wrap it up.
There is absolutely no way in hell, pun intended, that he is going to wrap this story up in one issue.
Yeah, I hope that he doesn't try, because it would be a terrible disservice to a really good book if he tried to wrap it up in one more issue.
Yes, and also the event that takes place in this issue of them going down into hell, or hell adjacent.
Hell adjacent.
And meeting with a demon to kind of figure out what's going on and get a little bit more. It's very much that like late first act, second act kind of event that you would see of like going and trying to figure out what's the next step. What are we actually working towards here? So I imagine more than anything, this is the tail end of the first arc. Because I just like, this can't be 5 issues. I feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's Cullen Bunn.
Yes. But also, I'm kind of on board.
Yeah, I just meant it's Cullen Bunn, so we could be done.
Yes.
But yeah, I want this to keep going. This is a really good book, and I enjoy seeing this character. If you missed issue 1, it's a guy who got possessed by a demon and suddenly went from like 0 to hero kind of personality, and then he gets an
exorcism.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. He gets an exorcism, and it goes completely wrong, and he ends up with all the demon's powers, but not the demon. And so now he's leading self-help talks about how to like take back your life and like screw society and like become the big boss person you're meant to be by using like the worst of what's inside of you. And Hell doesn't like that, and he's being forced to kind of make a deal with the devil, literally.
Yes.
And it's such an interesting way that plays out, and I really want this to keep going because I want to see how that moves. Like, where does this deal go? Because it kind of feels like Bedazzled almost with that Elizabeth Hurley movie where it's like you make a deal with the devil and it never turns out the way you want, which I know is like also just the classic belief of what happens, but it almost has that level of comedy like about to happen. Like I feel like it's just gonna blow up in his face that badly. But I'm so intrigued to see how this plays out for him, because he did have such is it gonna come like full It's a Wonderful Life where he realizes like what he had in the beginning is better than what he has now, or is he never gonna learn that lesson? Like, I want to know, and you can't wrap that up soon. You need some time for him to actually fail, and he hasn't failed yet.
And I feel like we have a long way to go.
We do.
So I do think this is not gonna be in. I don't know where I saw. I thought it was in a previous catalog.
I thought it said in the previous catalog of 5, and Chad's not on here to give us that information, so I'll have to look it up.
Expert.
I know. I'll have to look that up later and see, but I really hope it does not end, because it would be a disservice to the story he's telling if he does. Speaking of Angels and Demons, Dirtbag Rapture number 2 is out from Oni Press. This is the most adult title I have ever read on Oni Press.
Yes. 100%.
And I'm here for it. I enjoy it. This is a girl who Haley Joel Osment's, in that she speaks to ghosts. She sees dead people, and her job is to help them she thinks her job is to help them find where they should properly be going, or where they want to spend the rest of eternity. And so she builds like this mind palace for her to store ghosts in until she can get them to where they want to go. And we have now found out that what she thought was her job is not necessarily the case. No.
It's deeper than that.
It's way deeper than that.
And she is right in the center of it all, and she's very reluctant to want to take part. She would rather get drunk with her friends and smoke weed, and that's it.
And yeah, she doesn't want to save the world. She doesn't care if the world gets destroyed. She just wants everybody to leave her alone.
Yeah, and don't put hot tubs in
her mind palace
hotel. Yeah, she doesn't want hot tubs in there. Like, I like that she plays that landlord kind of character with the ghosts that live in her inside.
Yeah, she's
of her,
like,
yeah.
I didn't get. Who gave you permission to do that? Like, this is my mind. And they're like, well, we have to live here. And she's like, no. Also, how did you even do that?
Yeah,
I love that she gets so angry about it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those books where the main character is 90% of why I read this book.
Absolutely.
Because she is an asshole. But I do like that we're getting that kind of heaven versus hell style, the end of the world type level of story here. This is kind of a battle for everything, and at the center of it is somebody who's like, I really don't want to do this. Because honestly, I think that's how I would be. Like, if an angel or a demon or something came to me one night in my sleep and was like, hey, you have to go off and save the universe, I'd be like, no, pick the next guy on the list. Go to the next person, let them do it. I've got work in the morning. Like, I don't have time. I got bills to pay. And I like that that's just kind of her character. So this is a really fun one.
Yeah.
2 issues in, I'm 100% on board. What's it called? Dirtbag Rapture.
And we still have issue 1, so if you missed it, and they kind of came out really close together. So if you missed issue 1, it was one of those books, I think, that was in our stolen lot of comics. So that's why they seem to come back like really close together.
Oh yeah.
Because it should have been beginning of October and then this week, but so we got them back to back. So if you missed issue 1, we do still have it, and it's definitely worth. If you liked things like, anything from like Scumbag to Heavy to any of those where it's like this reluctant kind of bad person taking over, this is a one to do. Primordial, I'm assuming you read this.
I did, because as I've said millions of times, Gideon Falls is one of my all-time favorite comics. Jeff Lemire and Andre Sorrentino, Dave Stewart. It's another powerhouse. Yes, this is Primordial number 2, Image Comics. Honestly, this book, more than anything, I'm intrigued by the story. But again, this is really just Jeff Lemire writing a story for Andre Sorrentino to just stretch that artist's muscle. Like, it is insane how beautiful this book is. This title page here is so cool. I will gladly buy this book 4 or 5 times each time it comes out, just for this crazy art. Essentially, you have in the first issue a character who is kind of on to this idea that the animals that we sent up into space didn't actually die.
Yeah.
And may have transcended.
Yeah.
Into something that you don't know where this is going, but the second issue follows a dog. It gives you the backstory of the dog and its journey towards becoming the dog that they send off into space. Like, look at that 2-page spread. It's Soren. Like, I want all of the original art from everything Sorrentino does. I think this is going to be an interesting story. I don't know if it's going to be an ongoing. I know they have another book coming down the line, the horror book that you and I both reposted, I think.
Yes, the Mythos one.
Yes, the Mythos one. But again, I just like the art is wonderful, and it's Jeff Lemire. I think this is going to be one of those books worth reading alongside May's book.
Yes.
I feel like if you're reading May's book, this is going to be a little bit different, a little bit more conspiracy theory-esque. But yeah, pick this one up for the art more than anything else.
Okay, so I just looked it up. Sorry, I'm going to come back. Chad said that Cullen Bunn tweeted that he wants to do more Lucky Devil. He said Shadow Man comes back in January and I want to do more Lucky Devil too. And I just looked it up, and issue 4 is actually the last one listed in Diamond for now. So we We might just be on a break. We might be stuck with that as the end of our.
There's no way.
Of our story.
Absolutely no way.
So
that is where we're gonna leave.
So hopefully that would be the worst. It is a very open ending, very modern American ending if we do get that as our ending, but I would hate that to be the ending. I want so much for there to be more of the story. So I guess tweet Dark Horse if you want more of Lucky Devil, because it needs more, and also tweet Cullen Bunn that's not a real ending. But he wants to do more, so it sounds like he might have signed on for 4 and then realized that the story couldn't fit into 4, but is waiting on Dark Horse to give him more.
Okay.
I'm assuming, if I had to guess, because Dark Horse has been hitting on those 4-part series recently, so chances are the story got bigger than he intended it to be as he told it, which is not surprising with Cullen Bunn.
Yet again, he throws it out there, he runs with it, and then he goes, oh, wait, hold on. This is not exactly how I had it planned. I think I need to dive into this more. Or sometimes you kind of feel like even with his miniseries, he'll start and you're like, oh, he's about to go down this wild and crazy road. And then he's like, no, I'll be done in 5 issues. Don't get invested in anything at all. And don't expect to go crazy when it's all said and done. So please, if of all, like, cancel every other Cullen Bunn book that exists
and just
write this one. That's it.
I agree.
Focus on the one.
I just want to know more of Lucky Devil. Chad said read his Sinestro run. Chad has to go to sleep, but he did say read his Sinestro run.
Cullen Bunn did Sinestro?
Right.
New 52?
That's Chad question. Yes? No?
The only run there is.
That's the only, like, solid Sinestro.
I don't think so. Wasn't there one in, like, the 90s, 80s, or 90s?
I don't know. Chad, before you go to sleep, let us know which Sinestro run that is, and Phil will read it.
Well.
Maybe. Behemoth, 9 Stones. So this is one that came out back-to-back with issues 1 and 2, and we were like, I don't really know, and I'm still, like, partially on the I don't really know, but the way that, this is issue 3, the way that this issue ended, I now need to read issue 4. So, it's the story of a kid who, his dad is the big drug lord, and he gets paired with the only other kid probably his age, running drugs for the leader, and they have this moment in the first issue where they they have this hot, like, let's, we're kind of into each other, let's have sex moment, in the first issue, and
I remember this. Yeah.
And then the one guy gets attacked, like, he gets shot, and there's some kind of, like, demon, vampire-esque quality to the son of the drug lord. And in issue 2, the son of the drug lord has this he has to, step up and start actually, like, being the enforcer and doing stuff, and he's terrible at it. And this issue, we see him struggle even more, and for the first time we start to see that, like, emotional connection between the two of them actually grow a little bit more, but we also see, like, this demon connection between the boy and his demon grow a little stronger. And the way that this issue ended, I was like, this is why I have a 3-book rule. Like, that's literally what I thought when I read it, is this is why I have a 3-issue rule, because I got to the end of the issue, because I was like, I don't know if I really need to read it, but I was describing it to somebody earlier today, because they asked me what it was, and they were like, that sounds really interesting, and I was like, it does when you just break down what the plot is. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know, I'm going to read this issue and see how it goes, and then I got to the end, and I was like, damn it, the 3-issue rule strikes again. I want this to, honestly and truthfully, I just want it to be a cartoon. I want it to be an anime.
Yeah.
It's a great comic, but, like, it's a good comic, but it would be a great anime. And I don't even watch anime, but I'm still like, I would watch the crap out of this if this was an animated show or movie of some sort. Like, put this on Netflix and I'll watch it. Because I think that it needs more development than it's had as this story. And I know Behemoth does kind of get a lot of, like, the properties that have already been picked up, that they become the stories. And so I'm like, maybe it was already something that was picked up. I don't really know. But a lot of Behemoth titles do have, like, because they are a smaller press, you do see a lot of the lesser developed story. And I'm like, I need more of what's going on. And it's slowly starting to unfold. So I'm like, oh, maybe this is on purpose. I don't know, but I need to know. Because now I'm really intrigued about what this demon is. Yeah. And I'm really, really into this relationship between these two boys. And I need it. I like crave the next issue of this book in a way I did not think I was going to. And so now I'm like, I have to go back and check and make sure I ordered enough copies of issue 4 because I need it right now.
I do remember reading issue 1. And I do like that anime style for sure.
Mm-hmm. We got 2 more on this. I know, we've kept you for forever. Source Point Press has the Winchester Mystery House out. Whoa! It's not prize time. Don't get excited. You got 2 more books, guys. The Source Point Press has Winchester Mystery House out. Winchester Mystery House is based on the actual Winchester Mystery House, which is in California. And this is the story of the wife of the guy. Okay, actual history moment. The wife of the man who created the Winchester rifle. So he died, suddenly got tuberculosis and died. And she inherited everything. And it was a ton of money. Like, she was basically making $1,000 a day in that time.
Wow.
So she inherited all this money, and then right after her husband died, not long after that, her baby died of a weird disease that babies get sometimes. Thank you, Sarah Winchester. Thank you, Renee. And then the baby died. And then basically people started to say the family was cursed by all the ghosts of all the people who were killed by the Winchester rifle. And so she believed that she had to do something to stop that. And so she literally moved across the country and was like, I have to build a house to house all the ghosts of all the spirits who have died. So Homesick Pilot's probably based off of this idea. And she had to build this house. And so literally in real life, this woman hired contractors, and construction on the house continued until the day she died. They were constantly adding to this house, and I'm not going to tell you how big the house was because you're going to need to know that information in a minute. But I mean, it was a 7-story mansion that kept going, and it had all these rooms and staircases and doorways that went to nothing, and and everybody was like, this lady is weird, this is super. You can actually go, you can visit this house. It's actually been on my list of places I've always wanted to go because I want to see all this intricate design work that went into this house. But I love that they are making a book about her and about the building of the house. And so you get this is gonna get you're gonna get a ghost story. You're gonna get a true fiction, a true historical fiction. That's what I mean. You're gonna get a historical fiction story about this woman and this actual house. And I was pointing out to Phil before the live stream happened that this has actually got the trademark of the actual Winchester Mystery House in the real version of it on it. So I'm actually curious to know if they sell this in the gift shop now.
That would be awesome.
And how connected to the production of this comic the people actually are. But I'm really excited that they're making a book out of this. This is almost honestly, this could have been a pick of the week for me too, just because I've always been fascinated with this story.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited that we're getting a comic book of it.
And a Source Point Press, so
yeah,
more than likely it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
And it would also not be a shock at all if we didn't talk about Mark Russell, who has another title from Ahoy Comics. This is My Bad #1, and again, this is Mark Russell giving me what I need in a comic. This is an anthology type. You get 3 short stories. I think it's 3.
Yeah, it's 4. Well, I think it's 3 stories, and then there's a page from the handbook of the important. What is it?
Yes.
The important new superhero universe. And then there's a Mad Libs page, which honestly, if we didn't have so many books, I was like, we should do this Mad Libs on the live stream. And now I'm like, no, we shouldn't, because it'll take forever. But it's a Bad Libs, I guess, not a Mad Libs, because that's copywritten.
Yes.
But
so yeah, you get 3 different stories in this one. The first one is about the Chandelier, who is basically a ripoff of Batman, but more like Adam West style Batman. So if you kind of just made a more absurd version of Adam West Batman. And then there's also Emperor King.
Who's the bad guy?
Who is the villain, and he likes to karaoke Kelly Clarkson.
Yes, that's his go-to.
And he is basically battling a version of the Flash.
Yes.
It's very comical. It pokes fun at a lot of superhero tropes throughout it, and it's probably another one of those that I could have thrown in the pick of the week.
Easily.
Just because it is Mark Russell. But I do always enjoy poking fun at it's so easy to make fun of superhero comics. And Mark Russell does it in a very fun way. It's not just him. He teamed up with, there's another guy who does the letters. He does the creator letters. Or the fan letters. It is Bryce Ingman.
Bryce Ingman, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a section in the back. Like, the cool thing about this is there's like a fake ad that you would see in an old school comic. They do the fan letters in the back.
My favorite is the page from the superhero handbook.
Yes.
It's absolutely hilarious. Like, because it almost, instead of reading like one of those pages from a superhero handbook, it starts like that, and then it like divulges into a MySpace survey.
Yeah.
Like, he's like...
Or like a dating profile.
Right, like what does he
like
collect? He collects novelty spoons. And literally in the middle of it, it's like, is it important to read all of this crap? And it was like, yes, your life may depend on it. He's got his food sensitivities, his dream vacation. Why do we not serve burgers before 11 a.m.? To avoid grill cross-contamination with breakfast foods. Why not add more grills to avoid cross-contamination? And his answer is, don't be a smartass. Like, it has how much he tips when he goes to restaurants. Yeah. Like it starts normal, like real name, occupation, known relatives, unknown relatives, group affiliation, which is to the AAA Auto Club, base of operations, and then it has his Wi-Fi password, and his first appearance, his height, his weight, his hip size, facial hair, and then like his tips, his origin story. So it's like this great blend of the real things that they put in those superhero handbook guides, and just the most utterly ridiculous things that Mark Russell could think of.
And also, he doesn't want to take on Emperor King as a villain because he didn't violate any traffic-related laws. So I think it's gonna. I don't know how long this is gonna go for, but I kind of hope this is 2-3 volumes worth. I think you can really. No, it's just
it's just double.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been doing this. Ahoy does this typically, where they put like the virgin version of the cover on the back. Mm-hmm. Which I do like. I like that. But this is definitely another one of those fun books. Mark Russell just doing what Mark Russell does best.
Absolutely. I moved a lot of things around during that so that we could give you a prize soon and not make you listen to us talk longer. So let's give him a prize. And prize! I'm going to give you a copy of The Heathens by Cullen Bunn from Aftershock.
Yes.
It literally came out this week.
Yeah. So you get a new book.
You get a brand new book.
And you can join us in our Cullen Bunn quest.
And also, this is actually a really fun book, and I think that you're going to like it a lot. So, to get this brand new, literally just came out this week book, you have to tell me approximately how many rooms are in the real Winchester Mystery House.
How many rooms?
Yeah, you can Google that. If you look up the Winchester Mystery House, you can get the answer, or you can just start naming numbers, and I will tell you, it's over 100.
So anywhere from 100 to 100 million.
Yeah, give me some numbers, and if you catch the right one, you get this. I will give you some hints. There are over 40 bedrooms, and there are 2 ballrooms. And
you're going to want that.
Yeah, there are 2 ballrooms. One that was completed and one that wasn't. So, it is not 237, Nigel. Too far. It's less than 200, but more than 100. So somewhere between those 2 numbers. Angela, that is almost correct. I'm almost gonna just give it to Angela because she's so close.
Are we giving that away?
There's a There's a... Oh, no, we're not. We're not giving that away. Sorry. That's the next raffle.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so we are giving it away, just not today. Yes, Nigel, it is 161. There is a bathroom. That is her private bathroom. That was the extra room. But there is 161 rooms in the real Winchester Mystery House. Like I said, it was 7 stories of house. And it used to be on, I think it was 125 acres. And now it is only on the land that sustains the house. And they don't have... all the extra acreage anymore, but all of the rooms are still there, and the house is, I believe they said it's less, like, there's not all of the stuff that used to be there, but for the most part all the stuff's still there, and you can like wander through and see all the stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Interesting. I definitely would be down to
go there, right?
Yeah.
Bat City field trip.
I've never been to, well, no, that's not true. I was about to say I've never been to California, but that's a lie.
Alright, so we got some picks of the week, and there's really less of them, only because we put a lot of what would have been our picks of the weeks in the new this week to kind of spread it out. Gilla March has a new story. Gilla March is the creator of Carmen, the artist and writer of Carmen. Also, they say worked on Batman and the Joker, which is way less exciting to me than the fact that he is the creator of Carmen. But Laura and Other Stories is the new book out this week, and this is from Ablaze. And
yes,
I was so excited that you wanted to put this in your... Because I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm putting this in the picks of the week, even because I felt like that was too on the nose after I just did Carmen as my Halloween costume.
Yeah.
But then you were like, oh, this one goes in my picks. And I was like, great, you do it.
So, one of the things that made me transition from comics, like I think it was last year when I decided to move away from mainstream comics more to manga, and that is because there is a lot more real world like stories in manga than there is in Western comics. There's a lot of stuff, like this is a book that almost within the first page or two, when they start talking about love and depression and dealing with, you know, relationships not always working out kind of how you would want them to. Like one person sees it as a romance, and the other person just sees it as a friend. And there are moments in this book and Laura's stories where it's like, oh, I have been in that very exact moment where, you know, you kind of get caught up in these emotions, and then all of a sudden it's like everything's ripped away from you, and you're like, okay, now I just don't want to go outside ever again, and nothing's real, and the world's dark and bleak, and it really hit home in a lot of moments in this book. And I kind of want to go on this journey. Yeah,
I know. When I saw that it was and other stories, I was like, I don't need other stories. I just need Laura's story.
Yeah,
because I want to know more of how she gets through this. Because, like you said, everybody has felt probably every emotion that Laura goes through. You've probably felt at some point. And so I was like, I don't need other people's stories. Like, I just want to know.
And that's kind of what I'm curious about is, because I assume each issue will mostly center around Laura. We're going to go on this this kind of journey with her. But and the thing is there are a few other characters in here that I kind of want to know their stories as well. Like maybe give us more of the boy interest that she has.
I'm actually curious because they kept mentioning Paz, the girlfriend.
Yes. Yeah.
And they but we haven't met Paz. And so I'm actually curious more about that, because kept saying like, oh, you're friends with, and like there's this whole relationship that Laura has with this Paz character, and we don't know, we never see Paz. So I'm actually curious about that story, and about Laura's friend who tries to like force her out. I'm a little curious about that as well, because she talks about how, oh, well, you know, you never commit to anything, like, kind of thing. And so I'm like, well, what is this person's story? Because if we are going in this very real emotional state, then the idea of the person who doesn't want to commit to anything, there's a reason for that.
Right.
And so I want to see what that reason is.
Yes, and I'm hoping that there is somewhat of a linear story here. The reason this is my pick of the week in particular is because I am a fan of the trashy kind of romance drama stories like the OC and Dawson's Creek and things like that.
Yes.
And this is one of those books where it strips away all that absurd, trashy TV aspect and just dives right into the emotion side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and roll my eyes at a lot of stupid moments that these characters partake in, but more so, like, I'm going to be crying on my bathroom floor, thinking about exes that broke my heart and girls that I loved who didn't love me back.
Right,
and
I'm going to put on some Taylor Swift really loud and read Laura and be like, this is all of my emotions at the same time.
Let me revisit high school.
Yeah. 100%. And yet it's an adult version of that too, because she is an adult. She's already in like her late 20s, early 30s at least. And yet at the same time, what I love about that is it doesn't matter how old you are. A lot of the time you still experience those same emotions in the same way, where you're like, you feel like you said, like, I'm back in high school, like on my bathroom floor crying over this person that I've only known for a day, but now you're doing it over somebody that you've been with for longer, or you thought you were with in Laura's case. And so it's definitely a great book, and it's one of those real world stories that we don't see a lot in comics. And so people come in a lot and they're like, oh, I just really like romantic comedies, or I really like romance stories, and it's so hard to find one that's just grounded in that and doesn't have some supernatural element or anything like that. And so Laura is great because now it does give some leeway to that whole idea of just a romance story. I just have to throw this in there because it's always going to be a pick of the week. Wonder Girl, Joelle Jones. It's
issue 4.
And part of why I want to bring it up in conversation is because we are supposed to be on issue 7 right now.
Yeah.
And because of the paper shortages and the delays in comics, we are only on issue 4. And it's fantastic. We're finally seeing Yada come into her powers and learn about those powers and getting connected to the mythology, and we're figuring out what her mythology is. I cannot wait for issue 5 after reading this, because I think that we're actually going to see a little bit more of Yada's personal story. We've seen how she connects to the Wonder Woman mythology in this issue, and it's great that we're finally getting that. And also, I know one of the things that you and I were worried about after like the second issue is she just going to be like, oh, she has a Steve Trevor kind of boy, and in this one we finally see her have to like get to make that choice. Not have to make that choice, but she literally gets to make that choice. And I like the way she handles that, and it's kind of like, you know, it's Yada actually, like, I like that she also gets the choice. I don't want to tell you how she handles it, but I also like that Yada gets the choice to decide for herself, like, do I want that, or do I want this powerful experience? And is she going to choose to save the world or destroy it? We'll find out.
I support her either way. As long as Joelle Jones is writing and drawing Yara Flor. Yara, if you want to be a bad guy, if you want to be the villain of this story, I'm on board.
Right. Whatever you want to do, Yada.
Yeah. I'm here to support you. I'm a yes man in your world.
This is actually the last copy of this issue, so I just wanted to throw it out there really fast. But issue 5 of Vinyl came out last week. And Vinyl is a beautiful, wonderful story about a serial killer and the FBI agent that he is, Image, that he feels is his best friend. And literally, it is a beautiful, wonderful story. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have been, like, when you grab, you got issue 1 and you're like, oh, it's kind of like following the investigators while they go after, like, a Dexter type character, where it's like this serial killer who's, like, killing maybe good people, maybe bad people, I don't really know, but he's killing a lot of people, and you, like, feel like, all right, we're going on this adventure, and then it turns out we're following the serial killer, and he's the one doing the saving, and it got really deep, really, like, around issue 3, it just had this really big turn where we found out there was a lot more depth to the story, and it has continued to just dive further and further into that, and every issue has some kind of beautiful moment. And I know it ends, like, the next issue is the last issue, and I don't want it to be, because it's just, like, I want to live with these characters, and I want to see them, I want to see these serial killers be happy.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of those creative teams, though, that particularly focuses on 5-issue miniseries, and I hope that we just get more of that. Like, continue to play in this arena of just kind of, like, fucked up violence and weird, trippy shit. Like, I like the back cover is a color variant of the main cover, but I like this creative team, and I haven't read this issue yet, but issue 4 was like, yes. Yes, please.
We'll read that copy. Because we don't kill spiders. You were just talking about Joseph and his beautiful art.
Number 2.
It's number 2.
Black Caravan.
Yes. I was just going to say a Black Caravan book.
Joseph Schmalk, who I feel like he just owns.
Right, a controlling stake in Black Caravan. Yeah. I mean, he did Electric Black and... or Electric Parade and... or Black... whatever it is. Whatever the 2 words that came together to make Black Caravan, he did both of those books. I think.
Yeah, or what was it? Yeah, I know it's Electric Black...
and...
Something Caravan.
Dark Caravan.
Yes, Dark Caravan.
Whew! That was way harder than it should have been. But I think he was a part of both of those, or at least in connection somehow. But this is this takes place in Norse times. This is Viking time periods, and we have a guy who was a berserker and retired and is now basically a detective. And we've had a bunch of murders in this Viking community, and they are blaming this witch. So he goes to talk to the witch and finds out that the witch is the only one actually trying to protect them. And so now he and the witch are working together to solve this mystery. And it's dark and creepy, and there's a spider goddess, and she's awesome. And this witch is amazing, and... Joseph's art is amazing, and this book's just wonderful, and I love it, and I'm so glad we're finally at the time when issue 2 comes out.
When I read and look at this book, I immediately want to start doing... I want to immediately start headbanging, because this to metal. Me feels like Viking metal in art form.
Fair enough.
I mean, Joseph Schmalk is easily becoming one of my favorite creators. Especially because most of his books do contain those blue, pinks, and purples that I love so much. This book is ripe with it. It's fantastic. I love these characters. The Necromancer, like, yes. I highly recommend this one. You're not going to be disappointed.
No.
And then just pick up every book that has his name on it.
Right. If you don't know, we have glow-in-the-dark fourth printings of Phantom Starkiller, which are phenomenal. You should grab one.
Yes.
We have them. They're beautiful.
Yes. And it's only 2 issues in, so you're not...
Right. Jump on We Don't Kill Spiders, which is great because, Phantom Starkiller was like a one-shot that went into Count Draco Knuckle Duster, and I was like, oh, I hope We Don't Kill Spiders isn't going to be like a one-shot, but it is an ongoing, and it is amazing, and I love it. Speaking of books, this is a book that came out last week. You might have been here for an event to hear about it, but House of Slaughter, issue 1 came out last week. This is the spin-off of Something is Killing the Children. This is the first of many spin-offs, I believe, of Something is Killing the Children. It follows the character Aaron. We were fortunate enough to have Chris Sheehan, the artist, out here last week. If you didn't get a chance to meet Chris is fantastic and wonderful, and the art in this book is just absolutely beyond belief amazing. But I can't really tell you too much about House of Slaughter without spoiling Something is Killing the Children for you. So if you haven't jumped into Something is Killing the Children, now's the time to do it. And House of Slaughter is a prequel, and you get to learn about a character that we've seen mentioned before in Something is Killing the Children, but we don't know much about, so it's nice to go back and get to learn more about these characters.
Yes, I am behind on Something is Killing the Children, but, this to me, like... The way that Something is Killing the Children is selling, I feel like this is Boom's Walking Dead. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, this is it. This is the book that's it's really gonna put Boom on the map and into the conversation of, you know, top 3 publishers. You know, I feel like
this, coming for you, Image.
Yes, like this could really do it. And yeah, and then of course Sheehan was here. Unbelievable artists.
Unbelievable.
The remarks that I got
the commissioned sketches that were definitely not remarks.
Yeah.
They were like full on sketches. Chris, you are a phenomenal artist, and we love you.
This is spoilers.
No, you know it's fine.
I'll show one more. I don't want to get too crazy because I think it's foolish if you're not reading all things Something is Killing the Children.
It's so true. And you know, Something is Killing the Children started out as like a classic monster hunter story. It was like, oh, we have a girl who hunts monsters that are killing children, and then it was like, hey, this is doing really well, do you want to keep going, kind of thing. And James Tynion was like, oh, do I? Let me flex some muscles for a minute here and explain to y'all why I'm the Eisner Award winning writer of life, because this is a great and incredible world that he's building, and this has just become something that now has lore all the way back to like the 1600s and into now. And so there's so much that they can do with it, and there are going to be multiple spin-off series, and I love that this is where we're starting, because Aaron is such a great character, and so it's great to see that exploration.
And it's Tynion.
Yeah.
You know.
And moving on, Mom. This is issue 3. This is the last issue. This is from Image Comics. You know, Amelia Clark. I was super like, when they first announced this book, literally all that happened was we got a video from Amelia Clark that's like, hey, I'm making a comic book. I can't tell you anything about it, but I'm making it, so you should buy it. And I was like, oh, we're moving into that time period where celebrities are going to write comic books, and now, you know, indie creators aren't going to ever get to break in, because they announced Amelia Clark, Keanu, and John Leguizamo's book all on the same day.
Right.
And as a retailer, but also a comic writer, I was like, oh man, there go all of the indie creators, because now the indie books are going to be these celebrities. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to. I'm gonna support because it's an indie book, and I love Marguerite Bennett, who is the co-writer on this. But I was like, I don't know how I feel about celebrities jumping in on it. And then I read it, and I was like, damn it, this book is good. And it's only 3 issues, and it's all about, you know, how women are seen at, like, they even say it flat out in here, that you're supposed to be able to do everything. You're supposed to be able to be everything, but be treated like you're less than. Mm-hmm. And like you should be better than everybody else, but you're going to be treated like you're less than everybody else. And it's such a great message, and she keeps talking about, you know, this is a single mom who gets superpowers, and honestly, like, her superpowers are heightened by her period. Wherever she is in her cycle, that is the level of strength that she has in her power, and that is amazing that we put that in a comic book. It's like, hey, guess what? Deal with it.
Yeah.
That is part of what makes women strong, is the fact that they, like, literally give life to the world, and they have power that comes from that. And if you doubt that, here is a superhero that's going to tell you you're wrong. And she is, you know, she's doing all these things to fight, and I love it because in this issue she goes after the main villain, who is actually a woman who's like, no, I like the system. I've figured out how to take advantage of the system, and I don't want to change the system. I don't want women to have rights. I don't want all of this. And they're like, that's not okay. And she ends up, when she's down, it's kind of like that Spider-Man moment where in Spider-Man it's like all of the city comes and helps him. And this, it's like all of these other women who have been like inspired by her come to help her. And I love that you get to see that so much. And I love all of the way that it's written. Like, Amelia had such a great idea with this story, and Marguerite Bennett just helped her really, like, flesh this out. And Marguerite Bennett's one of the best just like in general. But the two of them together coming up with this concept and telling the story in 3 issues, it in fact can be done. You can come up with a complete concept and see it through to the end in 3 issues.
Yeah.
And they're all oversized, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Square bound books almost.
Nice, harder.
But it's been so good. If you didn't get it, we have copies of issues 1, 2, and 3. And honestly, it's a great book for anybody. It's fun. It's hilarious. It's got a great story arc. It's got a great emotional development. And honestly, it's going to teach you some, like, what it's like to be a woman and how to deal with that at the same time. So it's a must read.
Well, I do hope that this sparks more celebrities, because I know it's going to overshadow comic creators, but at the same time, if Vin Diesel wants to start writing comics, I'm on board. Like, take the Fast franchise and move it into comics after number 10.
Yeah, and it could happen. It could happen. I'm going to throw this next book out there as a pick of the week, also probably for Matt. The Me You Love in the Dark by Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. This is on Image. This is issue 4 of 5.
Yes, 4 or 5.
And I tell everybody that comes in that Scotty Young is a great artist, but I actually prefer him as a writer. Mm-hmm. And this book is another great example of why I feel that way. This is the story of a woman who's an artist, and she needs to come up with her next big project. She needs to get something going so she can do a showing. She moves to a house in the middle of nowhere, and the house is allegedly haunted, and the ghost of the house and the woman's relationship is told through the 5 issues of this book. And one of the things that I love about Scotty Young as a writer is he takes a fantastical element and explores an emotion that everybody feels through it. With Middle West, he and Jorge Corona explored the idea of abuse and anger and that level that kind of sticks with you, like that generational curse of those emotions. And with this one, he's kind of really playing on that abusive relationship that you feel could be how you fall into it and you think it's a perfect relationship, and then you can't get out of it when it isn't what you think it should be.
Yeah, so imagine in like Beauty and the Beast, if the beast was just a beast.
Yeah.
Like if there was no fairy tale side to it and it was more kind of rooted in things that we see in reality. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really expecting that from this book, because it kind of after issue 3, when you see the romantic side, you're like, okay, I didn't necessarily think we were going this route. And then it's in like 1 issue, it just goes from like really great to really bad, and you're like, oh, okay, like, and let's do it.
And I think it's important that they did it that quickly too, because there's so many times in relationships where you're like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest relationship, it's the greatest relationship, and then there's that turn in the relationship, and you don't want to, and she goes through so many of those emotions in this issue where she's like, oh, I don't want to think, it's me, okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, she has those it's not that bad moments before she realizes how bad it is. And I think that's such a great, like, he does such a great way of telling it, and Jorge does such a great way of showing it through the art, of that feeling of, no, like, it's okay, like, getting the feelings of it being okay, and then also just in turn not, like, you don't feel like it's okay, like, as the person on the outside looking at it, you feel all of the reasons why it's not, even when she's still kind of trying to tell you that it is. And so while your narrator and your main character is like, oh, no, it's fine, you're like, this isn't fine. And I can see that through the art, even though the words are telling me it's fine. And that is the power of comic books, is that we do get to play with 2 different types of artistic expression at the same time. It's what makes the medium so strong, because you can actually say one thing and show another, and it changes the power of what those words are saying. Because her saying, like, oh, it's fine, but the art is showing us it's not, it gives us that sense of, like, whoa, something is off here. Immediately. And so we start, yelling like it, we become like the Jamie Kennedy yelling at the TV, like, no, don't do it! Like, this is terrible. Like, you have that moment where you're like suddenly like you're yelling at the character to figure it out, and it makes it even more real, because how many times do you have that friend that's in that abusive relationship and you're like, you have to get out, and they don't see it. And then when they do, it's like they can't communicate it to the outside world, and you see how she can't necessarily communicate it when she does need to, and she, like, you see the feelings of her trying, and like what she sees versus like what the people who don't know that she's in that situation see. And so they're so good at this. This is Scotty Young and Jorge Corona's strength. 100%. And if you haven't read Middle West, like, I just buy all 3 volumes and read it immediately, because it's amazing.
We can't stress that enough. And I think this is, again, very much like in the same vein, for sure. It's I mean, we've said this, and we're gonna say it a lot, this was one of those powerhouse creative teams where it's like everyone is at their peak, doing exactly what they need to be doing.
Yeah, let's just keep talking about that for the next 2 books, because we've got crossover issue 9. This is an Image comic title from, of course, Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. Talk about a powerhouse team that's been together for a really long time. And D is one of the best colorists, and if you saw our Eisner show, you got to hear my rant about how D should have been nominated for an Eisner for D's color. And John J. Hill, the way he works the lettering and everything is just so good. This is a team that, like you said, powerhouse team where everybody's firing on all cylinders. And we talked about how earlier on the stream today, how issue 7 kind of took a break from the main story, and issue 8 did bringing us back to where we were in the crossover story, and now we're really like fully back in that investigation of like who is killing these comic book creators, and who is hunting them down, and why, and what is the deal with all of this like comic book danger. If you don't know the story of crossover, crossover is all of the characters from every comic book universe ever created have suddenly seeped into our world, and we of course never handle anything appropriately in our world, so we like are caging people who come from comic book worlds, because they are obviously dangerous to us, even if they're not. And so we've gone on this adventure with this girl who works at a comic book store, and the son of the preacher who is trying to, protest comic book stores and do all kinds of terrible things to them. And so we're on this journey with these 2 characters to see, and we're following along, and this particular issue finds an interrogation happening by the 2 police officer type characters from Powers, which is a Brian Michael Bendis book. And we talk a lot about Bendis speak on this live stream, in our book clubs, in our store, just in general. The world, I think, talks about Bendis speak a lot. And Donnie does an incredible job of writing Bendis speak in this book. And I read it out loud to Phil earlier, and we started laughing. It's just that overly like repetitive, like no matter what, like you say a lot of things really fast, you get all of those like speech bubbles like on top of each other, and he's kind of saying almost the same thing like over and over and over again, like when Bendis writes dialogue. And Donnie kind of hits on all of that, and so it's great to see him gets to play with other people's characters. Don't show that's a spoiler. It's great to see him play with other people's characters, and then but not just play with the characters. He also plays with the way the writer writes those characters, and the way, and Jeff plays with the way the artist draws those characters. And so it's so cool that they're kind of just taking other people's toys, and they're like, hey, like telling their own stories with them. It's Donnie's love letter to Image Comics, and I think if you have loved Image Comics at any point in your life, this is something that you should be reading. And we're gonna see more because Powers itself wasn't an Image title, and we're gonna see more. Wait, I think it was a Max, wasn't it? Or not a Max. What was it? We just looked this up the other day. What are the Bendis titles under?
Oh, it was under one of the other ones?
Yeah, I think it's one of the other Bendis, the Marvel imprint that Bendis had for a while. I think it was on that.
Yeah, I think you're right now that I think about it.
But also...
Icon,
thank you. Which was a Marvel imprint. And so we're going to see... And this issue also brought in more than just... There's a lot of big two in this issue. Without giving away that spoiler, Icon is not the only big two reference that we get in this book. So... We don't know how big this is about to get coming into this next arc because of the thing that I told you couldn't share that was a spoiler. This is definitely
hold on one more
an opening up.
Don't get too excited. We have to talk about the biggest book of the week.
And now we have Phil's big pick of the week that Phil needs to talk about.
This is Human Target number 1. This is the latest in the Tom King Maxi series. Again, Tom King, I swear, is just... He's found out a part of my brain that houses all my favorite DC characters. Mr. Miracle, Adam Strange, and now the Human Target. Christopher Chance, easily one of my favorite DC comic book characters ever. He is... Do you remember... it was Mission Impossible 2. Mm-hmm. When he had the whole face technology where he could wear other people's faces. That's basically the Human Target. In the best summary that I can give. He basically is a stand-in when heroes and villains in the DC universe need a decoy, or if they think there's going to be an assassination attempt, he is there to stand in and kind of help. He's a really wonderful character, and Tom King taking him on is exactly what I need.
I need this Greg Smallwood art.
Oh, yes. Also, Greg Smallwood. I mean, such a fantastic comic book artist, and perfect for this book in particular.
Did you see Mitch Jared's tweet on Tuesday?
Mm-mm.
He actually tweeted, get ready, if you are a comic book artist, get ready to feel bad about yourself today with the release of Human Target. And he tagged Greg Smallwood in it. And I was like, is it that good? And then I opened it up and I was like, oh, Mitch, you were not lying. If I was an artist, I would feel like I needed to go work on something right now, because it's something incredibly real about the art. It looks like photographs, but with a comic filter on it.
Yes.
And that's crazy. It's wow, you took a picture of a person and then you put a comic book Snapchat filter on it instead of making a comic book and trying to make it look like people.
Yes, and I felt like the moment that this was announced and put in solicitations, I immediately was like, oh my gosh, Tom King is the right person to do this character. And I like the concept of this book because there's so many ads of DC books. I'm tired of that. But it kind of starts with the end of the story.
Yeah.
And then backtracks, and it looks like it's an event that takes place over 12 days, and each issue in the series is going to be one of those days. It's a whodunit type mystery story, and it's going to be fantastic. I highly recommend it. I think that this is the perfect book for Tom King. And again, I mean, you're here paying for the Greg Smallwood art.
It's true.
More than anything else.
I love that you brought up that it's a whodunit, because the cover B is a whodunit magazine.
Oh, there you go.
And it's a Pennyworth Bros investigation. And so I love that you brought that up, because so many people have come in and been like, whenever the cover B is front facing, because we rotate A, B, or whatever, so somebody buys the cover A, then B ends up in front, and people will actually come out there and ask me hey, you guys don't have any Human Target in stock? And I'm like, oh no, we do, it's just the cover B is a whodunit magazine cover, so you don't actually know it's Human Target, because it is in teeny tiny print on the very bottom that it is the Human Target, so you almost cannot know that this is a Human Target cover, and Human Target is not on the cover.
Right.
So people keep getting confused, but this is actually the cover B of the Human Target. And one of our subscribers pointed out that they had to buy this cover specifically because a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are on the cover of this one.
Right,
So,
which
Tom King's favorite character, Booster Gold.
yes, yes,
Literally true. Like, that's not a joke about Heroes in Crisis at all. That was actually just the truth. So, oh yeah, Nigel won that prize earlier, and I didn't write that down. Sorry, Nigel.
I got it.
Cool. So yeah, those are the picks of the week and the picks of the last week, the picks of all the weeks. There you go. Let's give them a prize. We are going to give you a foil copy of Berserker #4. Speaking of celebrity written books, this is Berserker, the highest selling book at Boom, other than House of Slaughter. House of Slaughter is the highest.
shiny.
House of Slaughter sold 480,000 copies, or as they like to call it, the highest selling book at Boom Studios, not written by Keanu Reeves. So congratulations, House of Slaughter. And the question is, there have been 2 characters called the Human Target in DC Comics. Phil gave you one of them with Christopher Chance. What is the other one's name? So if you can tell me who the other person who was the Human Target is, you get this Berserker foil.
Also, small soapbox rant here while someone picks up the answer. Prior to, I don't know, I can't trace it back to whatever was the first book that started doing foil covers again. I know it's Boom Studios that's been doing a majority of them with like Layla Starr and stuff. Mm-hmm. I heard a lot of comic collectors talk shit about foil covers for years, where they were like, oh, it's just one of those like lenticular covers, like they're so stupid, why do they make them? And now that's all I see on your Instagram feeds. So I don't want to hear it. Let's just admit foil covers are dope. Alright, you can enjoy foil covers, and they're wonderful.
They're
like
wonderful.
The Layla Starr ones.
They're just mad because you can't get a 9/8 when you see them almost any time, so it's very hard.
Then don't CGC it.
Right, just enjoy it. Frame it.
Yeah, put it in a frame at home, and it'll be fine.
Right. BJ actually said, love the foils. BJ got the answer. It was Fred Venable. And BJ loves the foils. And you mentioned the Layla Starr ones and framing them. And that is actually BJ and Sai bought all of the Layla Starr foils to frame and then realized that Sai would not let them read the issues. So I don't know if you ever got to actually read Layla Starr, but it was fantastic.
Yes,
and
it's a must read. Like, please.
Yeah, issue 3 of Layla Starr is actually one of the best issues of comics. Stevie just joined. Stevie, we are drinking your wine tonight. We did a shout out for you at the beginning. It is so good. Can I have the bottle so you can show it off again?
Anytime I take too big of a sip, though, it hits hard.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Once again, from Stevie, this is the Wedding Oaks. This is actually a Texas Hill Country wine. It is delicious. We are loving it. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Stevie, it is so good. I probably drank more of it than anybody, as usual, but
I will be the first to admit, and you can tell, like, it for future, for future live streams. If you'll notice that I only drink 1 glass, and I do it very slowly over the entire live stream. This one, I'm probably on glass number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Phil's loving it too.
I'm starting to regret this. I still have work.
Yes, thank you. Stevie said we deserve it. Thank you, Stevie. Renee said kill that bottle, Shannon. Don't you worry, Renee. I kill all of the bottles that we do on this live stream. There's a reason we wind down our weekend. It's because I love it. Alright, so we got a bunch of books in stock because we're doing last week and this week, and I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. So, Dark Blood issue 4 from Boom Studios. This is 4 of 6. You definitely need to pick it up. A Man Among You issue 7 from Stephanie Phillips at Image, one of my favorite books. The Silver Coin is back, issue 6. Who wrote this issue?
Joshua Williamson.
Hey, Michael Walsh art as well.
Yes,
right.
yeah. Michael Walsh does the art on all of the silver coin,
okay.
and then he picks another. Picks a writer to tell each story.
Okay.
So super cool. That's an arcade version story. Pop Star Assassin from Behemoth, which was a big book last week.
Number 1.
Yeah. Frontiersman number 2 from Image. This is all about I call it If Ron Swanson, because we never got to talk about it because it was on that week that got stolen. It is If Ron Swanson was a superhero, essentially. It's a guy who is a burly old Nick Offerman looking dude who used to be an environmental superhero, and he just wants to live in his cabin in the woods, and now he has to go back and stop trees getting cut down. Campisi issue 3 out this week. Once again, that issue 3 being the turn book. I am sold on Campisi, where I was not after issues 1 and 2. Radiant Black issue 9, I believe. Yes. If you are reading Radiant Black, there is a QR code in this book that's on a random ad in the story. Scan the QR code. It actually does take you somewhere. If you
somewhere worthwhile?
Yes, there it is. There is a fake ad for them starting a business. If you scan it, it will take you to a legitimate business where you can buy some really cool Radiant Black merch.
Hey,
so
there you go.
Go there. There's your girl, Jonna.
Yes, this is issue number 7. I hope this book continues forever. It's fun. It's enjoyable for both kids and adults alike.
Word. Moth, Stray Michael Straczynski's Resistance Universe. He calls this the indie story to the big 2 Resistance world.
Oh, okay.
Turbo Kid, issue 2!
Yay! I'm happy that they are doing a Turbo Kid comic.
Yes, and it says in the back at the end of every issue that there's a new Turbo Kid game coming in 2022.
Awesome. Please, yeah.
Yeah, the art. Do you want to show that? Because it's so freaking cool. The art on this Turbo Kid book is just why you buy this Turbo Kid book. I mean, Apple's cool, but like this art, freaking amazing. Yeah. And
it's a Behemoth title.
And it's Behemoth because they get all of these properties that are already like TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So, By the Horns, issue 7. I don't know how long this book is going to last, but I love it and I want it to keep going forever as well. Strange Academy, Death of Doctor Strange. This is not Strange Academy number 1. I've had multiple people ask me this week if we actually legitimately had Strange Academy number 1 on the shelf. No, we do not. This is a Death of Doctor Strange tie-in. Speaking of tie-in, Star Wars number 18, a War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. And then this is the same book. I grabbed it twice. There's also a regular Star Wars book. It's fine. Justice League Infinity number 5. If you were a fan of the Justice League cartoon, you should be reading this book. Speaking of web comics that turn into print comics, this is Destiny New York, all about kids who have prophecies about them, like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, going to a school in New York.
I don't know the context for you old gun-toting bitch, but
I need to.
No,
that book's great. I love it. It's all black and white too.
Okay.
And they said that there is like 40 issues done because of the fact that it was a webcomic. Avengers. This is the Death of Doctor Strange Avengers tie-in. If you were looking for it.
Cool cover.
Batman number 116. This is the
Peacemaker.
next to last James Tynion issue. 118 will be the beginning of Joshua Williamson's run on Batman. I just ordered it today. If you are like, I'm out on Batman when James Tynion's out, you need to let me know. Otherwise, you're getting Batman when Joshua Williamson takes over. And honestly, you should, because he's a great writer. We Only Find Them When They're Dead, issue 9. Matt, We Only Find Them When They're Dead is out this week. I know you never know, and so this is your warning. It's out. Good Asian issue 6 is out.
It's going to be an Eisner winner.
Oh, right for sure. It's going to definitely be nominated. That Texas Blood was out last week and is fantastic.
11.
Sweet Paprika issue 4. This is Mirko Andolfo, and it is honestly my favorite Mirko Andolfo story because she's a demon in the publishing industry. Saint Mercy issue 3. This is a really cool story about that takes place both in the time of like the Inca and the Old West. We need more Old West stories.
apparently.
Yes.
Search for Hugh issue 2. I have not got to read it yet, which is the only reason it was probably not in like the hot new titles. Nobody's Child. Also, I didn't get to read this one yet. This came out last week. This is the story of the guy that's protecting the last white rhino, and it's awesome.
I do remember this
awesome story. You should read it. Second Chances. I think that the guy on the cover looks like they used Ramvi as the model. Like, he totally... Yeah, totally. Second Chances. This is a black and white noir demon story as well. Time Before Time, issue 6. Corporatizing time travel and using it for the wrong reasons. Made in Korea. This is the next to last issue of that. It wraps up in next month's issue, so it is a 6-part series.
Chew, number 9. Read it because it's part of the Chew universe and John Layman's great.
Yeah, it's the sister of the Chew from the original Chew story. She's a thief, he was a cop. There you go. Winter Guard. This is all about
Russian Avengers.
Russian Avengers, thank you.
With my girl Yelena.
Yes, and Red Guardian.
Yes.
Chilling Adventures in Sorcery. This is, if you've read Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, there was also Chilling Adventures of Sorcery, which was just kind of like witchy, dark stories that the Archie horror people put out. Yeah, this is some greatness. You need it. TMNT Best of April, finally.
Yes, I'm a little disappointed it's not yellow, but I would understand.
They gave the yellow to Casey.
Yeah, but
which I was
then
mad
yellow
about.
on yellow would be too much yellow.
It's true. I'm glad they didn't give her pink. I'm glad they put pink on Splinter.
Yeah, and Shredder too. They're kind of starting to recycle. I also saw that Transformers is going to start doing these best ofs as well with different characters. But yeah, if there's a character in the TMNT universe that you like, this is just a nice little collection of their stories specifically.
Absolutely.
Good luck number 5.
Yeah, Boom Studios. This is actually Boom, not Boombox, right? Which is surprising to me every time I say that.
It's more of a Boombox type story.
It is definitely a Boombox story. Boston Metaphysical Society, Ghosts and Demons. These are little one-shots that come out from Source Point that are all in the same universe and are actually really good. Here you go. This is for you.
Yes, Echolands. This is issue number 3. It's got this wild, crazy sideways. J.H. Williams, the third art is
freaking art
amazing.
Is amazing.
Yeah, there was one side panel. Of course, now it's going to be hard to find.
Right, you tried to hurry, so it's not going to...
Yeah, it's not going to, but I'll show a little bit of it. J.H. Williams, the third, is a magnificent artist. I fell in love with him when he did Batwoman during the New 52 stuff.
Yes.
And that was kind of like, okay, anything that you're going to do, I'm here as long as you're the artist. And this is kind of like one of those crossover-esque stories where it's like a bunch of different characters, obviously not other comic book characters, although you do see some like random, very blurry versions. I think Savage Dragon was in the first issue, but you kind of get like a little bit of other characters and stuff. But
again, if you're a fan of Fables, I think you'd like that book too.
Yeah.
Two Moons is finally back, issue 6. This is a story of a gentleman fighting when the Civil War.
Ooh, John Arcudi.
Oh man, this book is so good.
Okay.
It's a Native American soldier in the Civil War starts to see demons, and it makes him like fight out of like the context and stuff. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Mr. Miracle, the Source of Freedom. This is the last issue in that. So if you've been picking this up, this is Shiloh Norman, and we finally see Shiloh's story kind of come to a head. Star Trek The Mirror War. If you are a Star Trek fan, there are always Star Trek comics.
That involved the word mirror. I feel like this isn't the first or last time I'll see
a Star Trek mirror.
Is it mirror or something?
Yes. What did I just hand you?
Oh yeah,
Philadelphia
number 18. That is crazy. Super cool cover. That's one of those hot image titles.
Yes, always. And now the Nita Hawks, not Nita Hawkins. I keep calling it Nita Hawkins. Nita Hawks story, which is a spin-off of that. Speaking of hot image titles, Firepower, Robert Kirkman's. Yeah, you got that?
Chris.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for laughing at my terrible joke.
Hot.
Darkhawk is back, and if you are enjoying Radiant Black, Darkhawk is being written by Kyle Higgins, so you should grab a copy of Darkhawk immediately. Amazing Fantasy is also back. It's not going to probably give you a new Spider-Man, but it does have Wolverine on this cover.
Number 4. That's a cool cover.
Yeah, that's why I picked that one. There was another one, but...
Oh, okay.
Teen Titans Academy number 7. This is still happening. Yeah. If you didn't know, because I know a lot of people fell off, so I want to make sure they know it's still going. Swamp Thing, Ram v Swamp Thing, issue 9 of 10.
Also, DC just announced he's going to get a second arc.
He is going to get a second volume,
yes. So expect more Ram v Swamp Thing. I said it once before, this is the best Swamp Thing story since Alan Moore.
I really like Scott Snyder's because of the agency he gave to Abby.
I did now, yeah, and that's not to take away from all the other Swamp Thing stories, but I've enjoyed this one story-wise more than Snyder. But Snyder's is definitely fantastic.
The thing that Snyder did that was great in his Swamp Thing, and I feel like we have time because Matt's gone. The thing that Snyder did great in his was he did give Abby agency, and he made her a badass, and I think that's what I like about Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing. But Ram V making it a new character and giving us this incredibly emotional reason for being attached to Swamp Thing. Like, this isn't a person who was like shot and thrown into the swamp and like became Swamp Thing. This is a person who is like able to transform back and forth, and he has this like crazy emotional origin story, and it's just been phenomenal, and Ram V is killing it on this story, and if you haven't read it, when it comes out in trade, grab it all. Superman 78 issue 3 of 6 is out. This is based off of the Richard Donner movie. DC Soul Plumber, I think this is issue 2. Yeah, of that. If you were a fan of last podcast on the left, this is spun out of that. Joker's Puzzle Box. What issue are we on for that?
This is
4?
Issue 4.
57.
Please no. If this is 57 issues, I'll cry.
Crush and Lobo back again this week. This has been a really adorable story. Alright, now we got some Batman books. Batman Superman Authority Special.
Hey, always good to see the Authority.
Batman The Adventures Continue Season 2. Arkham City, The Order of the World, which is actually not really that Batman related and is actually a very good story. Batman, I already brought that one. Just kidding. Batman Reptilian, book 5. And also Batman in general was out, and I don't know what happened to the copy that I brought, but Batman issue 116 is out this week. So if you missed that, there's just actually a Batman issue, and then we have a new one-shot, After Dark, a horror anthology from Aftershock. Really excited. There's 4 tales of 4 horror tales in there, and yes, there is a Cullen Bunn story, but there is also a Jim Starlin story and a Frank Thierry story in this. So I'm very excited for this.
The rest of the names made up for that first one, because the first name you see is Cullen Bunn. And
well,
it's like
he's doing a lot with Aftershock right now, so it's not surprising. And
let's put him on like Xenoscope. Somewhere where I don't care.
Well, we're liking Lucky Devil.
That's true.
And who knows?
And Heathens. Heathens has a lot of potential.
The Heathens has a lot of potential. I can't wait to see where it goes. So, Cullen Bunn. Honestly, I really just want Cullen Bunn to dial it back and flesh out. Cullen Bunn's a great writer if he would take the time to flesh out all of his ideas. He just has too many, and I feel like he's can't focus on the ones that he has, and that's why they end up falling short. Where in reality, if Cullen Bunn just spent more time on each title, they'd probably be some of the best on the shelves.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where we go. Anyway, let's give these people a prize. Prize! Alright, we're going to give you a copy of, since it is such a heavy Aftershock week and I have the Aftershock shirt on, we're going to give you a copy of Cross to Bear. Issue number 1. Brand new title last week. And like Phil said, this is one that he really loved. So, Brian Michael Bendis, since we brought him up earlier with Crossover, Brian Michael Bendis began his first comic producing work at what comic book company? What comic book company did Brian Michael Bendis start at is an easier way to say that question. He did a lot of work as an BJ says this title lies. There are very little bears in that book. So far, BJ. So far.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen the knights without their helmets off.
They could be bears.
They could be bears.
They could be.
I'd be on board for that.
I would 100%. Love it. Yeah, but this is the guy who bought Warcorns. You were 100% on board for
just about anything
Vietnam War story with unicorns. So
I mean, look, give me anthropomorphic animals in any type of story, and I'll read it.
That's fair. I'm here for that. That's wonderful. I'm here for your love of anthropomorphic people.
It makes every story better.
Scott has gotten the prize. Scott, it is Caliber Comics, so you are getting a copy of Cross 2 Bear. Congratulations.
I guess that's because I'm a Turtles fan.
That makes sense.
Like, think about how much better Hickman X-Men would be if they were all different animals.
Oh, no, I agree.
Instead of just people.
I agree. Like, why isn't Wolverine actually a Wolverine?
Yeah.
I've wondered that my whole life. If he was actually a Wolverine, I would like him slightly more. Alright, so we got some trades in stock. If you didn't go to the movies this weekend, you still have time to learn about Eternals before I don't spoil the movie for you, because I would never do that. So we've got the current trade. We have trades of the current run by Kieran Gillen, who I've been told makes the Eternals make sense.
Yes.
So congratulations, Kieran Gillen, for
Assad Ribic art.
But we also have the Neil Gaiman version. And a lot of people say that, this is a good one to read for the movie. I also recommend the Jack Kirby version. I just don't have it in stock. So read that.
But, and this is the complete full 7 issues of the series.
Yes. Scott just recommended that you read more Peter Porker books, because everybody's an anthropomorphic Avenger.
Yeah, but then that requires...
Which Matt is going to pull out right here. Here's Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham. And as Scott picked out, Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom was the one that...
It's a lie?
It's a lie. It's the whole thing. So Scott picked out Dr. Doom as his favorite. Matt loves Croctor Strange. The modern one being Meows Morales is a huge one for me. I'm a big fan of Meows Morales. That kid's gonna go places. But there it is, Peter Porker, Spectacular Spider-Ham, great. We talked about Tom Taylor a lot tonight. 7 Secrets Volume 2 is out. Don't sleep on 7 Secrets anymore. This book is so flippin' good. Stop sleeping on one of Tom Taylor's best books on the shelf. And that's a hard thing to say. Scout's Honor. This is a Scout book. Aftershock book. Not a Scout book. Sorry. Scout's Honor. This is all about the world was like post-apocalyptic. We went into bunkers to stop us from like bombs dropping and everything like that. And when we came out, it was the Boy Scouts handbook that they had used to come up with the new rules for society. So the Boy Scouts run the world, and this book is so good.
I feel like it took them... Is this new? Did this just come out?
No, it's been out for a minute.
Okay, I was going to say, I feel like it took them a really long time to get the trade out.
No, it did take a really long time for the trade to come out, but it has been out for about a month or so now.
Oh, okay.
So read it, it's fantastic. I just never brought it to the live stream.
That's right.
Bronze Age Swamp Thing. Since we're talking about Swamp Thing being amazing, here we go. Bronze Age Swamp Thing. It's fantastic.
The original.
Yeah, the first one.
The first one is Swamp Thing.
A lot of really
people think it's golden or silver.
Beautiful. No.
Yeah, Swamp Thing came out in the
I could see that. People thinking he's a Silver Age character. Most definitely.
Yeah, he feels like a Silver Age character, for sure. Voyage to the Stars. This is based on the podcast that Felicia Day does. This was the comic that went with it. This is honestly and truthfully just Guardians of the Galaxy book, essentially.
IDW's
Guardians answer to that. Maniac of New York Volume 1. You need to grab this before Volume 2 drops next month.
Yes, catch up.
Yeah, it's time. Do it. Volume 2 of Department of Truth is out in trade form. So if you are a trade waiting person for Department of Truth, it is time. It is here. Black Widow Volume 2 is also out. Eisner Award winning Black Widow Volume 2 is out. This is Kelly Thompson's fantastic run on Black Widow. You need to read it. Grab it. Shino, how did we say this? Shino Kaji?
Sure.
Sure. This is from Black Box Comics. I know we both read issue 1.
I don't ever remember seeing an issue 2.
Yeah, well, now we got it in... I think it might have been one of those that went from an issue 1 to a trade. Well, here it is. Or I just failed to order it because it was one of those IO-only orders.
It fell under the radar, though. It wasn't one that, I do remember enjoying it art-wise, but it didn't really,
They follow us.
Yeah, it was great.
Really?
It was a good story, and I'm glad. As soon as I saw trades were available, I was like, I have to get it because we missed those other issues, and it was such a good first issue. So, speaking of things that were from one issue to a trade, Scouts No Ghost in Hiroshima. I need to read this trade because I got to know what happened after issue 1.
Yeah.
Scout does that a lot, where they have an issue 1 and then it goes it'll tell you at the end of the issue this will continue in trade form. This is one of those books, and I desperately need to know what happened in this trade because we have a guy who who was gifted a box that could destroy the world from a former mentor. That's what I'm looking for, and I want to know where this goes.
Also, only $14.99. So
not bad for a whole series.
Yeah.
Speaking of whole series, America Chavez Made in the USA. This is the book that rewrites America Chavez. For better or for worse. This changes a lot about America Chavez's past, and it's going to probably come into play a lot in the future of America's story. And last, and 100% not least, the book I have been waiting so very long for, Rockstars is back. Yes, this is finally the complete series. There has not ever been a complete Rockstar series. If you don't know, Rockstars by Joe Harris and one Megan Hutchinson Cates was with Image Comics, did a volume 1, and then started volume 2 and never completed. This is finally the complete series done by Vault. So a whole brand new compilation that has all of that volume 1 plus the issues that were missing from volume 2. Very freaking excited. And a new cover by Megan, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Talk about those blues, purples, and pinks. Megan highlights them so well. I am so excited because I've never read those last issues, and I've been waiting forever. God, it's so good. Do you want to show off Megan's art? That's your job, showing art. You do a great job. Megan's so good. And also Black Gutters. We talked about this the second the book came in. Matt goes, look at this. They got Black Gutters on this book. And I was like, of course they did, because it's perfect. But
I am very excited that this book has finally returned. I'm a little annoyed that I didn't get a second volume, and you're just giving me this nice big collection, which is only $20, by the way. This is well worth it. I was a huge fan of that first volume. Now I just have to... I'm basically just take my first volume and throw it in the trash and put this on my shelf because I don't need a volume 1. It's all right here, said and done. So thank you, Vault.
I'm very excited that Vault picked this up, honestly. I have been begging Megan for the rest of the series since before we were friends. That's actually that's your Bat City random trivia. I actually met Megan years ago when she had done Rockstars and was a fangirl of Rockstars at a convention, and then when I met Megan as Donnie's wife, I just failed to mention that we had ever had that and fangirl awkward moment, because she was out of issues of Rockstars, and I was I will find them for you. Me and my friend Brandon were we'll find them for you, and then we literally did, and we held on to them, and we never gave them to her because we didn't see her again. And I was I'm just not going to mention this. And it was probably a year or more into my friendship with Megan before I was hey, by the way, I was this awkward fan when I met you. Thank you for still being my friend. So
Joe Harris was the one that talked Meg up. I was at one of his signings, and he was he had trades that first volume, and he was yeah, she's going to be one of the next big artists in comics. Just wait.
He was not wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong. Which is why I like Joe Harris even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So get your copy of Rockstars. We have plenty of them, and I know I gave a ton of you them but grab it if you don't have it. guys. I'm going to give away a copy of Trial of Magneto #1. Because why not? Because I can. Because I own the store. So I guess we'll just do this since it is a Trial of Magneto #1 issue. In what comic, and I need the title and the issue, does Scarlet Witch invite her then father Magneto to Thanksgiving dinner?
That's what I was doing.
Were you making it your face?
Yeah, I was trying to hide my face, my drunken face.
In what comic, title and issue, does Scarlet Witch invite her then father Magneto to Thanksgiving dinner? If you can tell me that, you get this. Also, I realized that we didn't actually tell anybody what Rockstars is about. So, if you don't know, Rockstars is a murder mystery, essentially, that deals with all of the cult stories and occult stories of 70s rock. So, and honestly, there's the dude with the hair that's like her Robert Plant type character that just looks like Matt, and it cracks me up. I love it. Anyway,
is that what Matt cosplays as every day?
Oh yes, I think we're Frozen.
Dude, I would appreciate it if you wore that every day.
The bunny mask costume?
Wig and mask all the time.
What was the question again?
The question, BJ's got it. It's Scarlet Witch, Vision and the Scarlet Witch issue 6. The question was, in what comic, title, and issue does Scarlet Witch invite her then father Magneto to Thanksgiving dinner? And BJ, you nailed it. So, which I'm not surprised. Trial of Magneto is going your way. Yes, that is actually one of my... And BJ said that prize can go to somebody else because he obviously already has Trial of Magneto. So if you are needing a copy of Trial of Magneto #1, let us know. And you can comment claim and we'll give you a BJ's prize. But that is actually one of my favorite issues because she invites all of the Avengers for Thanksgiving dinner. But then she also invites Magneto because he's her dad. And they're like, Did you invite Magneto to Thanksgiving dinner? And she's like, well, but he's my dad. And they're like, okay, cool, Scott, I got you. You can have it. They're like, but she's like, but he's my dad. And like Captain America's like, yeah, but it's Magneto. Like, you don't really have to invite him. And she's like, but I did. And then it's like the so awkward thing. Like, they're all sitting around like the table and they're like, so, how's it going? It's my favorite. Yeah, it's The Mutant Who Came to Dinner is the name of the issue. Okay. It's fantastic. You should read it. Cool. Yeah, awkward for sure. Do you want comic industry news? That is news. Do you want to hand it to me? You all have been loving the raffles that we've been doing to raise money for our book buying, and so for schools, I guess not our book buying, but buying books for schools. All of our raffle donations go, like most of our proceeds at Bad City, they go towards buying books for schools, to put books in classrooms. And the next raffle, don't know what that noise is. The next raffle is going to be X-Men X of Swords Creation #1 Premiere variant in a 9.8, and it has the X-Men label that CGC just came out with. So you're gonna have to like turn it so they can see the label too, because it's a badass label.
There you go.
Yes. So this is going to be the next raffle. It's starting up this week. So when you come into the store starting on Wednesday, you can buy raffle tickets for this book. BJ says, oh, damn. Yes, it is beautiful. You can come in and admire its beauty while you buy your tickets to participate. We will be drawing the winner for this one in December. Possibly at an event, possibly not. We'll be figuring that out soon, and more details will come in that direction. Yeah, so this one's going to be a big one. I definitely recommend getting some tickets because it's going to be amazing.
It's a cool cover.
Mm-hmm. Those premiere variants are awesome. Comic industry news. Well, Jeff Lemire and Sorrento decided to drop a whole new universe on us this week.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's called. I think the main title is Mythos.
It's Mythos, and it's supposed to be like a whole universe of new horror stories from them. And this is the team behind Gideon Falls and Primordial, and so seeing Lemire and Sorrentino do like a whole universe, this is going to be like their Something is Killing the Children, Hellboy kind of universes, and I can't wait. They can do however many books they want, and I'll buy them all.
As long as Sorrentino's doing the art, yes. Tell me whatever story you want. I don't care. But I do think Sorrentino's art fits really well for the horror genre. I think it's perfect.
Absolutely.
I saw that, and I want them, very much like Scotty Young and Jorge Corona, I want them to work together all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, like don't work with any other artists or writers, just you two stay together and write everything.
Yeah. Be great. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Other comic book news, I just had it and it's gone. Oh, with the paper shortage. So a lot of people were like, oh, where's this book? Where's this book? Where's this book? There are a lot of really, really big changes from the big 2 and Image on, so the big 3, on when their comics are coming out. Some of the Marvel titles, like the Life and Death of Wolverine, or whatever it's called. That's not what it's called. But that story, like a lot of those books are moving all the way back to 2022.
Okay.
So there is a lot of really, really big changes coming your way. Venom was supposed to drop this Wednesday that just passed. It is now coming out this week. The Hulk got pushed back even further. So a lot of these books that you're waiting on are still coming. They're just coming a little bit later. And the amount of releases each week might be a little bit smaller from the big 2 because big 3, because these paper shortages are coming their way. It looks like Image got theirs worked out. We had a massive spreadsheet that Image sent out that was like, you can't put any of these books out on these different days, and it like moved everything around. But it looks like for the most part they've got it sorted for a hot minute. I still don't know when the no more second print thing goes into effect. So a lot of people have asked, what does that do for What's the Furthest Place from Here? Because they allocated that first printing with the record of the deluxe. And then Matthew Rosenberg said that we could get as many as we wanted of the second print. But then Image came out and said there are no more second prints. So nobody knows where that falls in conjunction with that. Like, are those pre-announced second prints still going to come out, or where does Image draw that line? We don't know.
Yeah, but I would assume that if it's been solicited or announced to some degree, that they would at least try and get those out.
I hope so.
And then it'll kind of start going from there. But I kind of expect this across the board. I think it's tough to say this because I'm not the world's biggest fan of digital reading, but maybe this is that time that we need to start thinking about just being mindful of the planet and the shortages, and start thinking about like maybe some of these titles do need to move digital only.
And I think, honestly, we talked about this last week, I honestly think that maybe this is the time to reevaluate the additional printings and the variants and things like that. We talked about last week, there is the X-Force anniversary issue that has 18 variants, and 17 of them are Rob Liefeld. So you're not even giving artists a chance to, and that's not an exaggeration, that is literally the truth. 17, there's 18 variants and 17 of them are just Rob Liefeld on his own book. Like, it's his anniversary special, and he has 17 covers. And then J. Scott Campbell gets one. The only other one is J. Scott Campbell. And that's it. When it comes to variants, I'm like, I get it if you're giving other artists a chance to get their name out there and things like that. Like, I get the use of variants for that, like the Stormbreaker variants, where it's like, hey, we have this artist, we want to highlight them. I get that. But, like, when it's one person doing 17 variants, That's not necessary. And
also, every Dynamite book doesn't need 10 covers.
Vampirella,
Red Sonja, they don't all need 10 covers. Like, let's start reeling this back a little bit, because I find it annoying. Also, if Rob Liefeld actually did 17 covers, I hope he's trolling on purpose. Like, I hope this is something he legit knows that people...
BJ said 17 covers, 3 visible feet. BJ, I've seen all the covers, and that is actually probably mathematically accurate. So...
I need to see some of these.
They're like... People... And, like, some of them have domino on them, so I was like, okay, people might want that, because domino is cool. And it's like domino, but she's still like flying towards the camera, so there's no feet in it. So that is totally a thing, BJ.
Is this just X-Force 1?
It's X-Force. It's an anniversary issue. I'll pull it up for you after. And so we just it's definitely something that I think this is a time where if we have to make a choice, like this is a place where we can definitely not have as many just for a couple months while we pull all of the stuff back, like we get the paper shortage. We also we were talking about it while we were working on Tuesday a couple weeks ago. Like, this is a time too where it's like if you opt to have that many covers, you should be required to plant some trees. Yes. It's like for every like time you go over 5 variants, you have to plant a tree. Like, just if you announced, oh, we're going to have 5 variants on this book, you're required to plant a minimum of 1 tree and then, like, go up from there. So, and, like, just how, based on your print run, you have to print more. So, yeah, you know.
He was smart enough to not put feet on these covers, though.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all, like, like, a good handful of them are, like, character variants.
Yeah, like, I ordered 1 of each, literally.
I'll buy them all.
Well, I ordered 1 of each, so there you go. And so, except for the domino ones, because she's cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but it's definitely one of those things where like we could cut back on that right now, and it would be the best way to save. Like, instead of not printing the books, let's print the books, but let's do 1 cover or 2 covers, but we don't need to do 18 covers. For
also,
everybody.
Let's stop giving stores exclusives.
Whatever we need to do. And I think that they've announced a smaller run on a lot of those, which will be helpful too. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's lots of things that we can do to cut this paper shortage, but as long as whatever we need to do to like keep the comics, like we want to keep the industry going and also like help the trees. And cardboard shortage is next. Yeah. Like, they've already talked about that as coming up. So the industry is going to see a big shift in how many books come out and when they come out and how they get to us over the next couple months. So just whether it's us or somebody else, just be patient with your LCS, because we can't control what comes to us and when and how. We don't pack the books. We just order them and they show up when they show up. So be patient. No, BJ said only City gets store exclusives from now on. Bat City is not going to have store exclusives like ever. That is a lot of money that we're not dropping.
We don't play that game
anytime soon. We just don't. We're not going to drop that kind of money on it. So at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, other comic industry news. Anything big? No. Mostly just be patient. Yeah, books are coming.
Paper shortage.
Be kind to your creators and your stores. And we're going to give you some prizes. And this is in no way a themed prize package. But we've got a copy of Eternals Thanos Rising. And why did you take the comic book? I'm terrible at the posters.
Oh, we can switch.
And Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade poster. So, I know. We've talked about Scotty Young this evening a lot, and I personally am a huge fan of his work on adapting the Oz books. So, how many of the 14 original Elfringbaum Oz books have Scotty Young and Eric Shennewater adapted to comic form? There are 14 originally. How many of them have Eric and Scotty adapted to comic form? If you can tell me that, you win both this Eternals Thanos Rises #1, and this Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade poster. Yes, thank you, Ram. Ram says patience is a virtue. Yes. Oh my God, Renee. Yes, it is 6. That was so fast, Renee. It is 6.
Thank you, Renee.
They adapted Wonderful Wizard of Oz, The Marvelous Land of Oz, Ozma of Oz, Dorothy of Oz, the Road to Oz, and the Emerald City book. They have never said anything about whether or not they're going to do the other 8, but I'm here for it. If you want to, Scotty Young, you can give me all of the Wizard of Oz books. So congratulations, Renee, for the Eternals book and Black Knight poster. Other than that, I'm writing that down, so sorry. Other than that is a lot of books, and you just heard us talk about them, and we would go into we could be here for hours talking about all of those books that we didn't talk about, because I guarantee you we love them, most of them too. So thank you so much for listening to us drone on and on about how much we love comic books. And thanks again to Stevie. Do you want to give me the bottle one more time, or hold it up for them, I guess? For the Wedding Oak wine, thank you, Stevie, for sharing this with us. This is really great. Thank you to this winery from the Texas Hill Country. And this is just a red table wine, and it is amazing. So good. So thank you for that. Don't forget, the new drawing going on in store is for the X-Men X of Swords Creation #1 Premier Variant in a 9.8 with the X-Men label. Good Lord, that is a lot. It's just come in. And, get your tickets for that. And other than that, we'll see you. There is a fly. We will see you in the store this Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. And if we don't, we'll definitely see you here next Sunday for our chance to wind down your weekend. Thanks, Phil, for joining me.
Always happy.
Yeah.